Yo, what is up, everyone? I am here with Lake and Richard Sage, and we're about to watch some Ocarina of Time, so get excited. Let's get some pogs in the chat for Ocarina of Time. Take it away.
What's up, guys? Rich is actually in the bathroom right now, but he'll be back shortly. But this is Ocarina of Time, Medallion Stones Trials category. Was there a file name? I think there was a file name incentive. Or bid word. Do we have a winning file name? Real quick.
Yes, we do. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up.
What do you mean I did? I did, Chloe. I literally did.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
We live.
We're about
Let's
to
do
start.
this.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone in the chat.
Wait on file name possibility.
Looks like we're having a bit of difficulties with our tracker for that, but we should have it here shortly.
No worries.
It's good to see everyone in the chat. Hope you guys are excited to see MST today.
It'd be lots of fun.
I have full faith in Lake.
We got this. Looks like CC gave a file name.
GMC Envoy? Is that the name?
Yep, it looks like that's the name, GMC Envoy.
Alright. No clue what that's referring to, but sure, dude. Probably... Okay. So I'm ready whenever y'all are. You have a
Let's do
countdown?
this.
Alright. Ready? Alright, let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's start. Alright, so if you haven't heard of this game before, it's Ocarina of Time. If you're a gamer, you've probably heard of it. This game is also pretty famous for speedruns. This category in particular is called Medallion Stones Trials. The requirements of this category are exactly what it sounds like. We get all the spiritual medallions from all the adult dungeons, get all the spiritual stones from the child dungeons, and then we complete the trials in Ganon's castle, and then we beat Ganon to beat the game. If you've seen one of the more broken kind of speedruns, like lately Hundo or all dungeons, that kind of thing, a lot of that stuff is banned in this category. Not to say this category isn't broken, because it is, because Ocarina of Time is a broken game. But we won't see anything too crazy, but we'll see some cool glitches.
Yeah, you guys will enjoy it. The main focus of this run is to think about it in terms of goals. So our 3 primary goals, just like Lake said, is we want to get all the medallions, we want to get all the stones, and we want to complete, the community gave the nickname to trials inside Ganon's castle, and then defeat Ganon. So basically, it's going to revolve around goals, and the route is optimized around the glitches that we've banned, if that makes sense. Like, we're not doing certain item manipulations, we're not doing crazy things like you might have seen in 100% like SRM. So Lake's going to be demonstrating a pretty well-balanced speed run from what you guys are going to see, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
Check Discord. Alright, I'll check Discord.
Also, great to see everyone in the chat. Hope you guys enjoy it today. Lake's been preparing, nice and ready.
Alright. There you go. Alright, so if you noticed during that little intro cutscene, this game is in Japanese. There's basically 2 options for the console most people play it. Like the 2 consoles most people play on. It's English and Japanese. Japanese has less characters and the text goes by faster, so that's why we're playing on Japanese. There's absolutely no difference in basically every glitch. There's like a few things that rely on some English text box, but those are pretty irrelevant. But other than that, there's no difference between languages. It's just versions 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2. We're on 1.2 today. We're on the Wii VC. A nice lengthy 3-minute intro, and we'll be in the gameplay soon. Yeah, nice comfy intro. I feel like it's like the perfect amount of time.
It's not quite as short as SM64, but it's just enough time to cool down between attempts.
Yeah, you don't just tilt, miss Lakitu skip at the beginning of the run.
And just slam the reset button.
Yeah.
Lake, I'm so hyped for you. You got this. You got this, man.
Let's go. Let's go. Alright, so First part of the run, we're gonna try to get out of the forest. Normally in casual play, you have to beat the Deku Tree, and then the guard will let you pass. But this is Ocarina time. We're gonna get the sword and shield, and then just yeet out of here. Right after Saria talks to us. So you notice a lot of backwalking here, and backwalking is generally the fastest form of movement for longer distances that isn't like a glitched form of movement. And we'll see some glitched forms of movement, mostly in adult, but we'll see some in child.
And you'll see that a lot of the movement that Lake is doing, he's going for very specific angles to try and optimize just every little frame that he can get. But also he tries to play around consistency too, so you'll see a lot of similarities across the run when it comes to movement, with side hops, with rolling, with certain angles that he takes, and it's all about saving times because we're speedrunning.
Yeah, we gotta save those frames where we can. So we got the sword, that's one of the two things we needed. Now we're gonna see a very good rupee route that I had no part in making, but it was made long before I joined this community.
I think this rupee route's been around for like 6 years now. Like, it's been for quite a long time.
It's a really good one.
And we had a little recent optimization
sick
where
parkour.
we target the rock. Shout out to Rosewater, by the way.
Yeah, that's Rosewater.
Good old half-a-second time save.
And there, so I grabbed the ledge. It's all good. And that's like a one-frame jump slash, because the bottom of the bridge has no collision, so at the height of your jump, you can jump slash and slam on top of that bridge. So now, we have 35 rupees, and the last 5 rupees are behind the shop here. Have a shield. We're gonna go for a method. It's pretty fast to get out of the forest here. It doesn't matter if we really get it or not, but it's fast if we do. Alright, that's okay. I'm gonna frame Mario on the jump slash, but we'll see. We'll come back to that form of movement in a bit. See it here very shortly. So instead, we're just gonna do a crouch dab and.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal if you missed that West, the water extended super slide. So what Lake was going for is called a water extended super slide. By holding the analog stick slightly off center and getting speed, you can maintain that speed. And you'll be seeing that quite a lot in this route. Different types of extended super slides. And very nice, Lake has made it through, sort of. And we're in. Oh. And we're in.
Yeah, so short little cutscene here talking to Saria. She's gonna give us an Ocarina. And then we'll be off. You can read a donation if you want right now. Seconds or so.
Does not look like we have any, but that's fine. We're early into the run.
Okay.
Go ahead and get those in though.
All good.
So conveniently,
Alright, so
Lake, if you wanted to talk about it, why we get Ocarina instead of doing a different trick where we can pretend to play an Ocarina.
Yeah, so Ocarina is going to help us get explosives early in Bottom of the Well. So Bottom of the Well has a chest with 10 bomb chews in it, and we're going to do a glitch called Ocarina Dive to basically just get into unlooted territory and then swim up in unlooted water to the bomb chew chest, and explosives are very, very important in this game.
The bomb chews are very important in this route.
But first, we're going to get a bottle from the Cuckoos in Kakariko. And we just gotta talk to an owl and backwalk a bit to get there. And we're gonna see the water extended super slide that I was trying to do earlier. On our way to Kakariko.
But that water extended super slide allows you to skip the owls. So normally when you walk past the loading zone where the owls are, they talk to you and they annoy you. but
we'll see one coming up right now because I don't do the skip. You can skip this owl. It just makes time of day a bit more strict. And I don't even do it in my PB attempts right now, but
yeah, I guess for a marathon run, it's not
saves a bit of time
worth it to go for it.
Yeah, definitely not, especially with jitters. I've lost a lot of time in the GSR races, in some of them to try to go in for that. Alright, so we're just gonna backwalk here for a bit, and then we'll jump slash off a fence and start a water extended super slide, or West as we'll call them from here on out. One thing to note about this category, and about this game in general, is the beginnings are often cutscene heavy, and this category is no exception. We're jump slashing off that fence into the water, and we hold a pretty specific zone on our controller, which is just barely outside of dead zone. That preserves our momentum from coming out of the water, and skip the owl because we're busy, as the game likes to think about it, and we just yeet on into Kakariko
Very
Village.
nice, Lake.
Now we're gonna...
Good job.
Thank you. We're gonna collect some Kakos. This seems boring, and it is, but there's also a lot of optimizations that I'm not very good at, but try. You can be really fast at these Kakos. Somebody like Joden or Bono are very good at these Kakos. Joden's like the OG cock wrangler.
So a lot of the movement you'll see with collecting these Kakos is quite specific. The certain angles that you face the Kako, depending if you're facing towards them or away from them, will determine the distance and the angles that the Kakos move. So the whole point is to get these Kakos to the little hen area, to throw them all in, so then you can get the bottle. So all the little movements, all the little angles he's taking is to guide the Kakos to move in a certain way.
Yeah, your position is just as important as the Kako's position and the running away.
The position is relative between you and the Kako.
We got past this carpenter, which means we're moving, at least a little bit. It's not the fastest Kako's I've ever done, but definitely not the slowest.
I mean, this is pretty good for a marathon. So.
Yeah, we take these. Sure.
So like even the little backwalks there, it's just to save a couple more frames. I mean, you could alternatively just move forward in a straight line, but if you can backwalk across distances, it's better to do that.
Alright, nice little jump there onto the ladder. Higher you get up there, you can get pretty high up there. I think that was a pretty good one. Last 3 Kakos, got them all in the open. Gonna hit this
and also
one.
the beginning position of these Kakos is random, but you can basically guide it to the best way possible to pretty much maximize the speed.
There's this guy. Right. Right, talk to Energy for a bottle now, and we're off to bottom of the well. And I will need some silence coming up because I have an audio cue. I'm probably gonna take off my headphones. I can hear the game better. But real quick, gonna do a Navi dive into the bottom of the well. We're gonna do a jump slash off here, and when Link jump slashes, he takes a small step back afterwards, and if we talk to Navi, during that little small step backwards, he just falls off, and since he's talking to Navi, water physics don't work. Alright, so we're gonna make our way over here. Gonna concentrate.
So what you're seeing now, the purpose of going to bottom of the well is to get the bomb shoes. The bomb shoes open up the entire game. Without explosives, you pretty much have to go through a little bit more standard. But by having explosives early, it allows you to clip through walls and also to get basically access to areas that you normally wouldn't. So by doing Ocarina dive, he can dive underneath the water and then make his way to the bomb shoes, which is pretty much the crucial item to get through the game fast on this category.
Alright, we're in. The camera was a little bit whack, so it was a little harder than usual, but...
Nice. Very nice.
Now we're in unloaded territory. Pulling Ocarina as we, fell down there doesn't let us actually load the bottom of the room as we fall down, so we can just get into this unloaded room, swim through unloaded water, and get these bomb shoes. Now we will make our way up and just get caught by a Flare Master, because we want to take some damage, and then get out of here.
Very nicely.
Alright.
Looking speedy, mate.
Got first cycle. Got
And
first
he got
cycle.
the first cycle. That is beautiful.
We take
The
those.
good old waits 18 seconds for second cycle. We don't want that. Very nice. So as you said before, the Wall Master picks him up and takes damage, and you'll notice that Lake is taking damage along the route. This is all deliberate. We want to take damage because later on we will do a cutscene skip, and you'll see that quite a lot throughout this route, that the health matters throughout the route to make it optimized. Otherwise, you'll have to take damage individually along the way.
Yeah, dying in this game is a little broken. We use a lot. Skip cutscenes, skip a lot of stuff. We skip a lot of stuff with deaths.
And what
Mostly
you'll see
cutscenes.
here is the time of day is starting to head towards nighttime, so all of this has been timed deliberately. We want to get to the castle just before night, and you'll see Lake rise onto the top of the bridge, and you'll see it really soon, depending on how much delay I have.
We're just gonna wait here for it to turn night, and I move away from this fence so that the Stalbos can just spawn over here and don't like despawn and then spawn towards me while I'm trying to target this pillar. But yeah, this bridge is like trying to go up, but we're not looking at it, so it doesn't want to go up. But when we look at it, we go up with it. It's OOT.
And also, he's getting the rupees,
There's
so we can buy the Hylian shield later.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get 40 more rupees off those chains after Zelda here. We'll buy a Hylian shield with 80 of those.
I'm liking this smooth gameplay.
Yeah, she's moving. Alright, we're gonna attempt to skip an owl here. If we don't, it's not a big deal, but we'll see if we can get it. Oh, frame early, that's fine.
We take.
Only a couple
we take those,
Ocarina, but yeah. There was one pause. Didn't really waste that much time. Yeah, you can like pull stick and then slash your sword while moving and just barely get out of the talk trigger from the owl, but not a big deal. We're gonna skip around most of these guards that are normally in our way by walking up a seam. Over here. Just gonna get an angle and a position and just we walk up here. Alright, and then so Talon's in like the way of these boxes. Normally casually you're supposed to push these boxes. You're supposed to wake up Talon, make him go away, push the boxes and then get in, but that's slow. We didn't even talk to Malin, so gonna get ourselves up there with a bomb chip.
And also our chew count, the bomb chew count is very important here. So we're strategically using the bomb chews to the best of our amount that we have. Using the first one to get it across.
I almost split. Alright, guards. You can explain these if you want.
Fingers crossed. Pulse chain.
Last time? Oh. Is it safe? In PB sense I would go for that, but... Alright, we're through. Alright, so those guards, they're either really good at their job or really bad at their job, and looks like they were pretty bad at their job today, so...
Well, sometimes they're very good at their
Good
job.
for us. Yeah, sometimes they're really good at their job, sometimes a little too
Sometimes
good at
they'll
their
catch you
job.
from all the way across the screen, and you're like, how?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Okay.
But yeah, we have like a minute and a half, 2-minute cutscene here. If we have any donations, we can read them.
Once again, it looks like we're a little bit slow going into the nighttime here, but I do want to remind everyone we're only $35 away from 1,000. I want to hit it during this run.
That's really
Let's make it
close.
happen.
Let's hit that
We
tonight.
can do it, chat. Let's do it.
Do it. Alright, so to fill in the dead space, purposes of coming to Zelda is, after you talk to Zelda for ages, Impa teaches you Zelda's Lullaby, and that's a very useful song to get magic, to get Furrow's Wind later, and some other triggers. So, need Zelda's Lullaby. Really, the necessity is for magic so we can shoot light arrows at the orbs at the end of the trials. That's like what we really get it for.
Yeah, so the very early part of the run is collecting everything that you need to progress the run. By the time Link gets to adult, we'll pretty much have everything that we need, and then go throughout the route.
Yeah, there's like 10 minutes of collection at the start of adult, but after that, and that collection's better than this collection because there's
It's a
like
lot
no
more
cutscenes.
exciting.
But yeah, it's a lot more exciting. But after we get bombs and magic, then we're gaming.
So, like, I had a question for you. What do you like about MST the most?
So, that's a good question. Do I like MST at all? No, I like MST. It's a good length. It's a good difficulty. It's very, very challenging. I think sub 2 is a very good goal for somebody of around my skill level. I feel like it combines. It's like broken, but not too broken.
I feel like it's a fair run. It's a
OC can
fairly
be.
balanced run overall.
It's a fair run. It's definitely a fair run. It's a little more unfair than GSR, for instance, but still, like, it's in that middle ground. Which is
So Tasty says, check the donos again. Did we just get a new donation?
We got
Check the
quite
donos.
a few, actually. We got $20 from Rod. It says OOT is Pog. Dale, read this, please. Thanks. We got $5 from Funyuns. Okay, seriously, what day is it? I don't know if anyone knows. I certainly don't. Then we got $35 from MS NAC or NACC. I'm not actually sure. And it says for Boomer. And with that, we have crossed $1,000 for St. Jude.
Let's go! Let's go, guys.
Fantastic,
Huge.
guys. Thank you for the contributions. 1,000 is huge. Let's keep it going, guys.
Alright, so real quick, we're gonna blow ourselves up with the bomb 2 to die right here. Was counting. Just as we enter this cutscene, and we get the song, we don't have to watch Impa teach it to us and take us out of the castle. We just die and we have the song now. So now we're gonna talk to Impa to take us out of the castle, but there's no cutscene attached to it, so it's fast. And now we're gonna head over and buy a Hylian shield and then go adult. One of the best glitches in this game. It's still one of the best glitches in this game.
And there's a little bit of debate. So, with the door of time skip that you guys will see quite soon, there's a little gap in the bottom left of the door. And it's a little bit of a conspiracy among the runners, but sometimes we wonder, was that intentional? So you'll see Lake do a little setup soon once he gets there. Something called a backwards side up, but we'll wait till we get there.
Sometimes I wonder if a lot of this stuff is
I mean,
intentional.
it just seems to line up so well that you wonder, was this
Everything is-
intentional? Was it somewhat intentional?
Everything in this game is just so convenient.
A lot of things just happen to line up
Crazy.
exactly the way you need it.
Alright, so entering the Temple of Time here. And if you're not familiar with this game, normally you need to beat all the child dungeons, Deku Tree, Dodonglu Cavern, and Jabu, and then come here with the Ocarina of Time and the Song of Time to open this door, but like Rich said, there's a tiny crack in it, and tiny cracks are, well, crack for speedrunners. The backward side ups are frame perfect, so that's why it took me a few tries. And that jump slash is also kind of frame perfect. There's another frame that you can do a different input to make it, but yeah, we're in.
And also, another thing that you'll see is that this game is quite convenient that you can pause buffer to certain frames that you need. So that jump slash there can be either 2 frames, and Lake buffered to a particular frame so they could hold left and jump slash, basically to guarantee that he gets through. If he was to go too late, he will just fall down, void out, and have to reattempt it from the beginning.
So real quick, I was gonna mention this at the beginning, but if you've seen an MST run before, it probably isn't this one. I do a different route that I think 3 or 4 people are doing, including me at the moment. Maybe a little less, maybe 2 or 3, but the other route that most people are doing is called the NL route. It gets Neighbor's Love and does dungeons in a little bit of a different order. And this route is called the Dodong Door route, which is a great name for a great trick. And we'll get to Dodong Door when we get to it, but
So we'll have a nice cutscene here. So
Pause,
if there's any
champ.
more donations that you wanted to call through.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a couple more. We have one from Chris Standard for $20. It says, Ocarina of Time is my favorite game ever, and St. Jude is one of my favorite charities, so this feels like the perfect time to donate. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much for that donation. Then we have another $5.55 donation from Glitchy. And they do have a bit of ASCII art here that I'm going to go ahead and copy paste into chat because I don't know how to read it.
Beautiful. Let me see this. What is that? Beautiful. Thank you,
Thank you,
Glitchy.
Glitchy, for the donation. So once this cutscene ends, we're going to start getting into the more action of the run. The child section is pretty standard.
Yeah.
It's quite similar to a lot of other routes that you'll probably see. But this route's it was put together about a year ago, I think. But no one really ran it until Marco
Yeah.
decided to run it, who currently holds the world record right now. He was so close to getting a 1 hour and 49 minute run. He just lost a little bit of time towards the end of his world record, but it's as optimized as it gets. And for a while, we thought this route was only about 20 seconds faster than the route that I run and some other runners do. But once Marco, demonstrated that it was a lot faster, people started moving on.
Close to 45 seconds or a minute, yeah.
And Lake will also be getting slight differences from the world record route.
Mm-hmm. Some of that stuff is too Monka for me, so...
Yeah.
Fire Temple, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, 4 Heart Fire Temple.
Maybe one day, but not for this grind. But yeah, the reason people didn't run it, because you'd think if it's 20 seconds faster, why not just take those 20 seconds? The reason people didn't run it is because there's some bomb RNG that honestly isn't that bad, but people were like, yeah, bomb RNG. And it seemed a bit harder than the other route, and I disagree.
I think you prefer Spirit Hover than Spirit Jump, right?
I definitely do. And that's one of the differences that we'll see. We'll get to that when we get to that, of course.
Oh,
but
yes.
yeah, there's just a lot. There's a few key differences that make this route a lot more enjoyable for me to run. Grind for the time that I want.
That's great.
That's why we're doing this.
Another thing,
just about like, go ahead.
Another thing for the audience to pay attention to is that we're going to do a lot of things out of order. So with speedrunning, you'll probably notice that we do quite a lot of things. It seems almost random, but a lot of it is designed to be as fast as possible. So the dungeon order, the item order, and the way that we go about things is all deliberate.
Yeah, in this game, it's pretty sick that we can just do anything in any order we want, pretty much. Because this game is so broken that it's pretty much just a sandbox, as far as speedrunning is concerned.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's probably the ultimate speed game.
One of the best parts about this game. Yeah, in my opinion, it is. Alright, so, real quick, the door of time that we skipped, it's still there as adult, so we have to save warp. And luckily our save warping, which is just saving and then resetting, takes us on the other side of that door. Can I get the bottle, please? Thank you. It takes us on the other side of the door, and we can just get out of there that way. We don't have to ever get on the other side of the door again this run, but...
So basically save warping is saving and resetting, and then appearing on the beginning of the area that you're in. Which will take us to the other side of the door of time.
Yeah. Respawn on the platform. Going. We're gonna make our way back over to Kakariko Village. It's a very popular spot in speedruns for this game. There's a lot of key items in it. What we're looking for is the hook shot. And go into Shadow Temple. Our first medallion. Oh, it's actually not our first medallion, it's our second medallion because we just got the light medallion.
The default medallion.
Yeah. It's our first dungeon.
And you'll see that Lake is still continuing the collection phase of the run, but we're almost prepared to basically run through the entire run. So we're almost there. We just need a couple of more things, and a couple of more things to set up. And then it's just...
Pretty fortunate that Shadow just kind of falls in the little path of collection. So you just beat it real quick.
That the 2 items that you need to go quick are quite close.
Coincidence? I don't think so. Alright, so we're gonna dupe a bottle over our bomb that we got by turning adult. That's kind of weird, but we want to keep our real bottle for a fairy later, and fairies won't activate if they're in a fake bottle, which is just a bottle that's not like where it's intended to be. We're gonna use that fairy to die and revive ourselves later, so just want a spare bottle.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That trick with the fairy, especially. Alright, so OT winners, get your guesses in the chat. We're gonna race Dampe now. Dampe guards the
I'm gonna
shot.
level this one. I think you're gonna do. I think you're gonna do good. I'm gonna go 49.
Alright. So Dampe just drops like random flames, and you can dodge them sometimes, but sometimes he just puts them right in your path, and you just cannot dodge them. So we'll see how that goes. Other than that, it's just rolling and having good movement. A good time is like 47 or 48. And this is a little weird, but we can like climb this ledge and it gets like in the air a bit, and we just jump slash to get up that ledge a bit quicker.
A quick jump slash climb.
Yeah.
I like these RNG manip bonks you've been doing.
Oh my god. I ruined your guess by bonking at the end.
Did you see? Oh, this is gonna be 49. I'm gonna bonk instead. Dude, was that 4 bonks?
Yeah, that was, I think, 3, but yeah.
It's still faster than my damn favorite.
A few bonks. Alright, so in this chest is the hook shot, one of the best items in the game. Along with like bottle and explosives. Throwing to ruin your bet, yeah. I've ruined everybody's bet by bonking 3 times. That's what I did. Alright, then we can get in that door and then quickly go out, and that'll void us and put us at the start. That tunnel normally leads out to the Song of Storms place, the windmill. And we don't want to go there. We want to go to
Yep,
Shadow
and in
Temple.
casual play, you would normally play the
This is what
Song
we're
of
gonna do
Time to
now.
get past the block to continue on.
We also just don't have
Yeah,
Song of
so we
Time.
have to do this.
Although we can get through with the bomb shoot.
But we want to save those shoes.
But we don't want to.
Okay, so you got to see hookshot jump now.
You can explain this
okay,
if you
so
want.
what Lake is going to do is he's going to bonk into this little, how would I say, like a wall here. And as he interrupts the bonk, he's going to pull hookshot. And if he presses hookshot on the correct frame, it's going to interrupt the bonk, and it's going to send him into the sky so he can make his way to Shadow Temple. And when he lands, he's going to get infinite sword glitch, so he can stay on the ledge. Normally, if you don't get infinite sword glitch, you can pretty much just slide off. So by getting ISG, like, they're able to go across these seams here. Now, this seam movement is very particular. There are certain areas where you can get stuck. So Lake has to maneuver in a very certain angle and speed to make sure that he doesn't fall down. And if all goes well, he makes it into Shadow Temple. And also, as he goes down, you'll see that the door to enter Shadow Temple is unloaded. That way he can just go straight through. And that's the benefit of doing the hookshot jump.
Yeah, we actually jump over the load trigger for that room. And the door is part of that like load zone, so we just kind of walk through because there's no door. Alright, well, here we go on our first dungeon. This is a rather short one. Because of the glitch we're about to do. But first we gotta fight Dead Hand. You're gonna see me do a particular set of moves and get Dead Hand down to health total that I want, and then Dead Hand's gonna walk away, and then we're gonna hit Dead Hand right as they try to burrow back in, and we can double hit them like that, and it's a good quick kill. Now we have the hover boots, and it's time to beat Shadow Temple.
Which is also crucial for
You
lots
can
of
take
glitches. Okay, so we're going to defeat Shadow Temple quite fast. So he's going to need to do something called boat skip and boss key skip. By using the bomb shoes, he's going to do a mega backflip. He's going to clip out of bounds and go through an unloaded area to make it to the door. If everything goes well with the setups that he's doing, he'll be able to clip through that door and make it straight to the boss. And this basically skips the entire temple.
See, and pause buffering coming back again. Because this has like 5 frame perfect, kind of not frame perfect inputs in it. Most of them are frame perfect. Cursed frame.
The ultimate lag frame.
Oh my god. Here we go. Alright.
Beautiful.
You take this.
Great work.
That last frame is so hard to pause buffer for some reason.
Another reason why is because if you over buffer and you go 1 frame later, the chew will just explode on you, and basically you'll fail the trick.
You just lose
so
it.
it's one of those frames where you actually have to nail it, and it's worth it to lose a little bit of time to get the correct frame. It's one of those frames you cannot fail. Unless you want to go through the whole dungeon again.
If you want to explain the bongo
Okay,
fight,
so
go
this
ahead.
fight here is quite simple from a speedrunning perspective. We're going to use infinite sword glitch and hookshot the hands. And when Bongo charges at Lake, the infinite sword glitch will stack the damage and kill the boss very fast. But it will also, you guys do the bottle in this route too, right?
We don't dupe it, but we do.
Ocarina items. Okay, so he's gonna catch the bugs. So then after this fight, he's gonna do a cutscene skip. So this is all part of the setup for after the fight.
Alright, Bongo dead pretty quickly there. And then you'll see a setup, and this is the first instance of cutscene skips, wrong warping. They're kind of the same setup most of the time, but the difference is some cutscenes, when you beat a dungeon, have scenes that aren't the, what is it called, the Sacred Realm, where like Raru or whatever the sages greets you. And if they have a scene where it's not the Sacred Realm, then you can wrong warp to a different place, and we'll get to that in a bit. I think the Dong Door is actually the first instance of that. But yeah, we're gonna die and just skip the cutscene and get the medallion.
So you're gonna say Link die a lot, basically.
Yeah. It's gonna die quite a few times. So we do Ocarina items, which lets us play our sword as an Ocarina or some item that you can hold. And it lets us take control of Link after we step onto the blue warp. And then we just do some inputs and fall into this, whatever this is. I don't actually know what this is.
We'll just call it the death
and die. Yeah, the death zone. We fall into the death zone, and then we die. And this white flash you can see coming up. Yep, that means we got the medallion and we skip the cutscene.
Yep. So inside Link's Lake's inventory, you'll see that he will have the medallion.
Yep. I'm not sure I ever page over there, but if I did, you would see it. All right, so we're gonna get a fairy from this gossip zone by playing Zeal. Any Grey Note song will spawn a fairy from the gossip zone, but we only have one, so we just play it. And we will use that fairy, like I said. Fairy needs to be in a real bottle, and we will die in pretty soon. It's coming up. We'll do a cool glitch with it.
And it's pretty amazing how we've already finished like one of the later dungeons or temples in the game. When normally you'd have to.
It's like the second to last or last
you
jungle.
have to do all the child
sections,
sections, all the adult sections, forest, fire, then shadow, and etc. But nope, we did it first.
If you look at a glitchless run, you'll see what I mean. It's like 3 hours in, 2.5.
And also lots of cutscenes that you'll need to watch.
Yeah. Let's hook shot into the house, because you can hook shot the roof of houses for a bit faster movement. We're heading to Dodongo's Cavern, but we're not going to beat Dodongo's Cavern yet. Dodongo's Cavern has bombs, and bombs are OP. So we just want to get bombs and dip. We'll come back later. And in a very cool method, as you'll see.
Oh yes.
About the 50-minute mark.
I'll be right back.
5-minute mark or so. Okay. I forgot to take damage from that Tektite. We want to damage down a bit here. It's not a big deal, it's just faster to damage on that Tektite a bit. We're entering DC here. Gonna use our last bomb chew before using the rest of them later to blow up this wall. And then there's lava at the bottom. We're gonna damage down off that lava to half a heart, and then we're gonna get in the specific position and hookshot the ladder in a certain way. Some fun shit's gonna happen. Looking at the wrong texture. Alright, so we died at the same time that our hookshot hit the ladder there. And what that does is, it's kind of similar to the hookshot jump that we used to get into Shadow, except for just using a different method to interrupt our hookshot. And the fairy revives us so we don't just like do that and die. These are the bombs. And we're gonna say goodbye to Choose for a while, hopefully.
Good job, Blake.
Can I hook that? Okay, there we go. Thanks.
Good job, mate.
Alright. So now, this next 10 or so minutes are probably the hardest section of the run in my opinion. It's a lot of movement, a lot of small things to get right. Hopefully we can nail these Hesses, and you can go ahead and explain what Hess is, because we got one coming
That's
up
great.
right
So
now.
similar to the water extended super slide, you can do something called a hyper extended super slide. By rolling into an explosion and shielding on the correct frames and generating speed, Link can hold his analog stick slightly off center. And what it will do is it will put Link into a constant state of shuffling. And by holding this position, he can maintain this speed and basically get around the entire game.
High sign. Alright, that was pretty good, aside from me trying to do swag and failing the swag.
Hey, we give points for swag.
Yeah. This is Rolly Boy. We all love and hate Rolly Boy.
Oh, we love Roller Boy.
We're gonna bomb him, and he's gonna go on a long rant. And he's gonna give us the tunic. So, this is one of the differences we were talking about between World Record Route and what I do. So Goron Tunic, in like Fire Temple and heated areas that you have like a timer, there's a timer, and the timer sticks to 0, you die. And Fire Temple is pretty difficult to go through.
Very difficult.
Yeah, on this route, you have 4 hearts, and your heat timer is based on how many hearts you currently have. And with 4 hearts, there's sections, specifically the big lava room in Volvagia, that you have like 1 or 2 seconds left over if you do really good movement. So yeah, not doing that in my own PB attempts or for the purposes of marathon. If I did that in PB, I would not do it for a marathon. It's very easy to die.
It's incredible that Marco makes it look.
It's also like, yeah, Marco makes it look insanely easy. And it's also like near the end of the run. It's like the second to last dungeon. I guess third to last dungeon we do.
Yeah.
Because Deku's like right at the end. Alright, so we got the Tunic. We're gonna go get the Bolero Fire. It's gonna be our only warp song that we get in this entire run. We go to warp song. The very convenient place. A nice hub towards a lot of different places.
So Lake will be setting up a cutscene skip for this particular area too. So normally when you walk into the bridge, Sheik will drop down and you'll have to watch the cutscene and Sheik will teach you Bolero. But if you do a very specific setup, you'll be able to void out as the cutscene begins. And when that, basically what happens is once you void out and reload again, you'll have the song instead of watching the entire cutscene. So if Lake does it all correctly, he should be able to skip this cutscene and get the song.
Failed for some reason. Alright, not sure why that failed, but
That's okay.
Just loses a bit of time.
It's about a minute.
Doesn't do anything
minute and
too.
a half. It's not too bad.
Yeah, 45 minutes, something like that. It's not bad. Good to hear nice chic music for a bit. If you have a donation or 2, this would be the last chance for a while.
We do have one. We have a $40 donation from Anonymous, and it says, "Don't you think for 1 second, CJ, that you are getting off the hook? You are going to play Jinx %. You are going to take your lumps and play Snap in SDAT." Thank you, Anonymous.
Nice. Alright, so after this cutscene ends, I'm gonna void. We would void if we got the cutscene skip, so we're just gonna carry on as usual. And if all goes well, I don't have to equip Tunic. If I have to equip Tunic, so be it. Just waste a little bit of time. But if I have good movement,
and this is a
then
demonstration of the timer that Lake was talking about earlier. That if you're in heated areas and you don't have the Goron Tunic, the timer will run based on how much health you have. So the less health you have, the less time you have.
That's a nice backflip. There we go. Alright. So we're making our way over to this grotto up here. Bog might have doomed me. The equipping Tunic. If that's whatever. All good. Some minor mistakes, but that's how tight this is. And if you don't get Tunic, of course, you have to nail that. Alright, so we're gonna do a few things in this grotto. There's a fish here. We're gonna dupe that over our nuts by equipping it as we swing our bottle. I was supposed to equip Ocarina there too. And then we're gonna get this chest that has 20 bombs in it, and we have 17, our max is 20. So goodbye 17 bombs that we waste. It's one of the saddest things in this run.
Imagine
picking up a 20 bomb chest for 3
if you only
bombs.
had 40 bombs, you'd be so relaxed.
Yeah. Only this is all dungeons. I could RB in my bomb bag. Alright, so I actually lied. This is another cutscene, but this is actually the last cutscene for a while, so. We're gonna go get magic from this fairy fountain. It's gonna be about a minute cutscene if we have anything coming in right now. Dale? Alright, Dale's dead, so we'll just talk about what we're gonna do next then.
Alright, Lake, so did you want to run through the next part of the route?
Yeah, so our next temple is gonna be Water Temple. It's pretty far away. Think about the map. We're in Goron City, Death Mountain area, and Lake Hylia is where Water Temple is. It's on like the opposite side of the map. Luckily, there's a few shortcuts left in the game, like on purpose. They're not like left in the game on accident, but usually supposed to be active or like available for you to get mostly as adult or until you have something. So we're gonna do some glitches to get One controller, thank you. Here's some of the shortcuts and some glitches to get through those shortcuts. To get to Water Temple pretty quickly.
And also if you're wondering, we are playing on the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console version 1.2, and Lake is using a GameCube controller.
Gooby. We're gonna backflip off this cliff. We hit this Hess. Nice. That's gonna take us all the way down over here. Gonna go back into Goron City because there's a shortcut from Goron City to Lost Woods, and then a shortcut from Lost Woods to Zora's River, and get into Zora's Domain, and then there's a shortcut from Zora's Domain to Lake Hylia. So we're gonna take quite a few shortcuts, most of which should not be active for what we have right now. Like this, you would normally require Silver Scale to get, which you should have as adult, but we don't have it. We're gonna do a bit of movement there to clip through that. And then normally you're supposed to play ZL, and we do have ZL to part this waterfall, but that's slow. I'm gonna roll behind this waterfall with hover boots. Sometimes that can be done, and you just don't grab the ledge.
And you'll see that conveniently in this game with the speedrunning is that we're able to touch certain loading zones by clipping through. So, like for example before, where normally you would need the Silver Scale to dive down, all Lake had to do was clip through a certain area of the block and touch the loading zone, and that takes you to the next area. And he'll be doing that quite a lot across the run.
Also, that's probably the stupidest clip in this game. Can I make this? Oh, okay. You just like backwalk into the ladder and you clip through.
Yeah, certain angles allow you to clip through at precise points in certain areas.
Alright, we can hookshot the top right of that ladder, or on the left of it, and when Link grabs the ladder, we'll just be out of bounds, half in bounds, half out of bounds. Alright, so on to what we were trying to do there. I just jump slashed a bit too early and didn't quite the height I wanted, but touch that loading zone and like Hylia. We're gonna clip out of bounds again to get into Water Temple since we don't have iron boots. We can do a ledge clip there, and that's targeting the wall that's like right there at the same time as Link like falls and grabs the ledge. Let's go out of bounds, and we can swim this water because it's all just here. Out of bounds.
And then he'll make his way to the loading zone.
We don't clip back in.
Once again.
Yeah. That was a scary part.
Also at nighttime it's so hard to see when to turn.
Yeah, it really is. Let me just make our way up and around. Out of bounds stuff, and the loading zone's right there. It actually extends a bit upwards, so we can just swim over to it and touch it. We're gonna make our way to Morpha, and
Yep, you got this. So Water Temple is also quite a quick temple, just like Shadow. Normally in casual play, you have to go get all the keys, you have to go kill Dark Link, you have to get the long shot. But conveniently in speedrunning, we just make our way straight to the boss. So it's actually quite convenient, and it's one of the shorter temples that we do.
unfortunately I released Shield a bit too early there. Or a bit too late, I mean. And I cancelled my... Don't hit me, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Wait. Can I make... So what I was doing there was called a super slide. That was weird. If you want to explain what a super slide is, you can go ahead because I got another hard glitch coming in.
I've got a little bit of delay, so I got to see what you're doing first.
No worries.
Okay, so Lake is going to make his way through the door. What he's going to do is going to hover on top of bombs, and when he's in the correct height and he pulls the sword, it'll let him to clip through the door. Is it underneath, I think? And it'll basically touch the loading zone and take him straight to the boss.
It's a bit of a different...
Are you doing the marker setup? Nice.
I can't do this right now.
Yep, okay.
Yeah. Failing it a bit, but our bomb count is a bit generous here. We just have to farm a bit more. This'll work. That's fine. And we picked up parts earlier, so taking damage didn't matter. Alright, so now we're in Morphin fight. It's sloppy, but that's fine.
Yep, so basically the bombs push Link through the door, so then he can touch the zone and get through.
Yeah, because when you're hovering with ISG, the game's like trying to pull you down constantly, but it can't because of the properties of ISG. Yep. And when you cancel it by like swinging your sword, or in that case, we actually are not high enough to keep the hover, and the game can pull you down, but the bomb hits you right as the game tries to pull you down, and you just clip through the door. You have a really high speed. No Morpha fight. We're just gonna hookshot Morpha and drag her into a corner and stab her a bunch. Spawn point is RNG. It's not usually too bad. This one's fine. Gonna damage down because we want to die in a bit. Normally I would actually just be at a half a heart here, but failed a few things and picked up some hearts. All good.
And you'll notice that Lake is still taking damage. So once again, we'll get Lake down to half a heart, so then you can do a cutscene skip at the end of this fight too.
Water Temple is not one of the ones that has a thing besides Sacred whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Sacred. I can't think of it. I can think of Sacred Grove and Sacred Meadow. Anyway, Sacred Realm. That's what it's called. The Sacred Realm. It has the Sacred Realm after it, so we can't wrong warp, but we can skip the cutscene just like Shadow Temple.
And we're going to use the bottle again by playing, by doing a trick with Ocarina items. Basically, let's like take control of Link, and then we want Link to die on certain frames. And if all goes well, we won't have to watch the cutscene, and we will get the medallion, and we'll see the white flash if he's done it successfully. If he doesn't do it successfully,
it's pretty crucial that we do skip this cutscene. Yeah, it's pretty crucial that we do skip this cutscene, not only because it's a long cutscene, but the Lake Hio's water actually rises during the cutscene, and we don't want that water to rise because we want to clip through a bunch of stuff in Lake Hio. So dropping our fish here, just a little bit of step to get the right position and angle. Got a bit fish trolled there because fish can just flop away with RNG. Do Ocarina items on the warp, and then we're just gonna do some movements, pull a bomb, and die. Looks good. So that should work. Once again, we'll see the white flash, and if we see the white flash, then it is successful.
Nice.
Cool. And now we're gonna head on over to these patches of grass, and hopefully RNG is nice, because I am bad in this run. Normally I need 1 or 2 bomb drops from these grass, and this is the RNG in the run that we're debating. Need 1 or 2. I need 2 in this case, since I'm low on bombs, but usually 1 or 2 bombs. That's all I need.
And RNG is basically a fancy word for luck.
Yeah. Properly stands for random number generation. I got 1 bomb drop there. I need at least 1 more. I'd prefer 2. I'm just gonna farm for 2.
Yeah, I think just farm all the way up.
Yeah. Open this door, please. So I'm just gonna go in here to reload the grass. Farm more. Normally that would have been fine. I would have been at 20, but I wasted more bombs than I would have liked. But got a bomb drop there, so we're good. Now we're gonna go over here and do a mega flip. I don't really think we ever explained what a mega flip was when I was doing it in Shadow. But we're gonna do one of those and clip through this. Go back from Lake Hylia into Zora's Living. But basically we're using Explosion to extend a backflip.
Yep, and then Link touches the loading zone again, takes us through.
And then we're gonna head up to Jabu. Jabu is a very interesting dungeon in this run. Normally Jabu is not the most exciting dungeon.
But on this run?
This run takes full advantage of the properties of Jabu. I can't do this, so we're just gonna jump. Testing is hard sometimes. This is like one of the easiest clips in the game. Just target that wall and jump slash in this corner. Alright. Now we're gonna go get Fro's Wind real quick before we go into Jabu, and the reason for this is we're not even gonna use FW that much. We're gonna use it once, and then we're gonna turn it into a bottle. And the majority of the reason that we want Fro's Wind is because of a glitch called Equip Swap, which lets us equip items on adult or child that you normally can't equip as that age. For example, we're gonna equip Boomerang with which I called Equip Swap. A little weird, but. So, roll a cutscene here. You can read donations if we have any. 2 or 3 if we have them. Dale's alive actually. It was last time we checked in on him, he was dead.
We'll see when he gets back. So another thing to know is that this route prioritizes the route around Fro's Wind. Other routes, they use Naru's Love. So as long as you have the correct magic for your route, you can do the trick called Equip Swap, which is what Lake mentioned earlier.
Yep. And we'll see that in 5 or so minutes.
Yep. And the first example of it will be equipping Boomerang, so then he can defeat the boss. And you can use the Boomerang as Adult because of Quick Swap. And a Quick Swap was found in
It's actually just
2017,
invisible.
I think by Exodus, I think.
Yeah. I think so. I wasn't around then, but I know it was in 17, so...
It was pretty much the big game breaker back in 2017 for a lot
it
of
was a
the
huge
routes.
one.
It sped MST up by about 2 minutes quite fast.
Normally in other old routes, you'd have to do Jabu as child, since you didn't need to use Boomerang. Oh well. We're gonna head over to Jabu, and so an interesting thing to note about this route, for Jabu specifically, is if you're paying attention earlier, we duped a fish over our nuts. Normally, in most other speedruns, you have nuts for this dungeon, and nuts are very important in this dungeon. They'll let you go fast, and this looks weird. That was either a bit too close or a bit
Yeah, I
too
think
far.
you were a little bit too far away for that one. Okay, so what Lake's doing here, and he will attempt to, is to... The loading zone to get into Jabu still exists, but it's underneath the ice. So if you do a very particular setup where you do a startup through the bomb, and you put a sword input between hover boots and Kukuri boots, it'll let Link basically slide in and touch the loading zone and take him into Jabu, which allows you to complete Jabu as Adult, as opposed to dropping fish like you would in casual play as young Link.
Alright, so I'm gonna do some weird movements here, and the reason for this is when we do the wrong warp at the end of this dungeon, as we'll explain and see later, we actually do 2 wrong warps in a row, and both of those wrong warps have a small chance of crashing, and to reduce that chance, we have to mess around with actors a bit, and so I messed up the manip, but to fix that we will save warp after Boomerang,
Yeah,
and it'll
you do the safety safe warp.
just waste like 20 seconds or whatever.
So another thing with Jabu,
it's fine.
and if Lake wants to explain it too, because it's pretty simple, but Jabu is pretty straightforward. Even though you're Adult Link, you're still going to progress through Jabu just like Child Link is. For example, a lot of the switches that you step on, you think that by being Adult Link, he's heavier, and he steps on the switch, you won't need Rudo, but that's not the case. The game still registers it just like Young Link.
Yeah, there's one switch in particular that leads to the Boomerang room that that's the only thing we need Rudo for. If we didn't need Rudo, we can save like 2 minutes or something, however long it takes to get from down here to back up to that switch. So we're just gonna hike with Rudo for a bit. We're gonna grab a fairy on the way, and that's gonna be used to die and revive, as you might expect. And we're gonna use that for a neat little wrong warp, which is the titular Dodong door.
And it's the feature difference between this route and the others.
Yeah, in the other route, they do this dungeon last and just watch the cutscene. So I can actually hookshot through like the flesh of Jabu for some reason. We can hit a pot up there that has a fairy in it, and fairies actually just follow your height. Whatever your height is, the fairy's height will be. We can just catch the fairy through that wall. Very weird interaction, and a little bubble trolled here. Right. Like that. The bubbles just hit you and make you drop Rudo, and it's very annoying. Alright, I'm gonna... Actually, I don't need to take damage, because... I'm just gonna kill this guy. Gotta get a bomb drop from him. Normally I would take damage from that guy. Didn't drop anything. Normally I would take damage though on that guy, because we want to die after Baronade, which is the boss of this dungeon. But we have to save warp, and save warp kills your HP, so... Doesn't even matter.
No bomber NG there.
Get some wah. We see the wah.
We got the wah.
Yeah, it's just a little idle animation and sound that Rudo does. Good to get it. Gonna navigate Rudo through this room and step on the switch that, again, Adult Link can't just step on by himself for some reason. And this is leading to the Boomerang room. And if we're good here, we're gonna use Ruto's butt to kill one of these stingrays. Good hit, I think. Yeah. And since we don't have nuts, usually you just nut twice, and
just slash them all.
they all go up and they all go down, and then you just slash them all. But we have to like roll through them or slash on top of them.
Them one by one.
A little bit more annoying. Yeah. That room is a little slower than usual, but it's not too bad. Alright, so we have the boomerang, and like I said, we're gonna save warp right after this to fix the cutscene pointer to make Jabu and DC wrong warps not crash. And then once we get back in here, we're just gonna activate FW and head to Baronade. We're gonna do a neat trick shot to hit the switch to open the boss door.
Very nice.
As you saw on that pause screen, proof that we do have the medallions that I said we have. Wait, I'm supposed to use FW. Alright. So this door is interesting. Also, here's a quick stop, like that. So for a quick stop real quick, I'll explain first. So if you hover over an item and then switch the menu and then switch back, and on the first frame that you can, press up left or down left or up right or down right depending on what you need. And then a button, a C button, you will equip that item over the item slot that you mouse over at the end. So in this case, I equipped Boomerang over FW. So if I pause in the menu, the little white box would be over Roar's Wind, but I have Boomerang.
And also the quick swap also works on Majora's Mask, surprisingly. So a lot of the tricks are transferable between the two games.
Alright, so Baronade is another case of difficulty because we don't have Deku Nuts. So, we're gonna do a combination of quick spins and great spins to kill the jellyfish on Baronade instead. Usually you just throw it out and they all die. But hopefully we can get this fight pretty hard.
You got this.
Alright, so that's the Baronade fight. That was alright. Not perfect, not bad either, so we'll take those. So, for this wrong warp coming in, you have to kill Baronade in a certain section of the room to make the blue warp appear in front of like where the door it would be. It's like a pile of flesh or like a indent of flesh. But yeah, this is in the right spot. And now we're going to do stone door. If you can.
I think I want to let you concentrate for this one, and we can probably explain it after.
Alright, sounds good. Sounds good.
It's quite a lengthy setup, so he needs to do this spot on.
Alright, that was perfect.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So we have just wrong warped from Jabu's boss room to Dodongo's cavern boss room. And that is where we want to go, but we're going to go out because we're pretty low on bombs, and there's a bomb plot right here that we can farm a bit for more bombs. So if we slash that pot and then reload the room without picking up the bomb drop, it can give us another one, so that's what we're gonna do. I don't know when we'll have a chance to explain that trick, but
yeah,
we will.
I wanted you to
concentrate. So now I'm gonna...
There was no way I was gonna talk while you were doing it.
Yeah, you're good. Alright, so we used the keys to use Navi to lock the Navi as we hit that switch, and it kind of prolongs the effect of that switch, which is just keeping the door
I
open.
love how you did that unbuffered, by the way.
I just go for an unbuffered first, and then I use the backup and buffer that if I fail it.
Yeah, so that run warp we did earlier was really technical. Like, everything you had to do was spot on. Angle, timing, and even using the boomerang was a timing cue.
Yeah. It's also a camera manip. If you don't use it, even if you have the right timing, you'll fail it. Because your camera's bad. Alright, so hardest boss in the game, King Dodongo.
The big, thick boy.
My route PB actually 3 cycles this guy.
I think you were just being nice.
Because I forgot to jump slash. Alright, anyways. So, to put it simply, that wrong warp, since Ruda's there, it's a bit different than other blue warps. We had to die once and get revived to have some of the blue warp effects. As you saw, I was getting like pulled back to that blue warp every time I stopped moving when I was damaging them with bombs. So that was the first death, and then we had to die again to activate Ruda's text, because the blue warp starts when Ruda's text activates. And I'll explain the rest after this.
I'm gonna need to be quiet for this one too.
Alright, that was good. Should be. Alright, so if that worked, it looks like it worked. We died as soon as we lost control of Link there. And all goes well, where you will wrong warp to Gerudo Training Grounds. Like that. Sick. So we do like 2 wrong warps there to move across the map and beat 2 dungeons really quickly, which is so sick. And to finish explaining the wrong warp from Jabu, after the second death, we use the bomb to clip out of bounds and get near where the door loading zone is. There's actually a loading zone where where you came from, which you're never normally supposed to activate. But clipping out of bounds, we can use that loading zone to instead of dying as the warp is supposed to take us, like we did in Shadow and Water, we actually go through a loading zone, and that changes where we're supposed to go. That correlates to King Dodongo's room. And similarly, with Dodongo's Cavern, we did that but with dying, and that takes us to Gerudo's Training Grounds. So now we're gonna make our way to Spirit Temple.
And conveniently, we can just do a gate skip here. Lake likes to go for the mega setup here.
Yeah, the jump slash one is terrible.
Yeah, especially for a marathon. But yeah, so instead of instead of getting the card and raising the gate, we can just pretty much just jump straight over. Now, normally in casual play, going through Wasteland, you'd want to get Lens of Truth, so then you can see the ghost and it takes you through. But we can traverse through the Wasteland by knowing the pathway.
I'm using a Hest here to speed things up, which is a little bit more tricky than just like walking through it. But it's not too bad. I cut it short halfway, because this part's a little bit more tricky to go through, especially in a marathon when I've like only hit this once or twice in practice.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna walk the rest of the way. I use slopes as visual cues to know where to go. And coming up into another hard trick, it's called Spear Hover. It's not too bad, but if I miss timing, then we're just gonna
also, Lake really likes this trick, so I've got faith.
I don't know if I really like it, but I like it more than Spirit Jump.
Comparatively. You'd rather do this than Spirit
definitely
Jump.
comparatively I like this trick. Definitely, especially with the amount of choose we have. Luckily, we didn't waste any choose in child section, or any adult during adult when we had choose. So we have 5 choose. for this, and this is where we're going to use the rest of our cheese.
So conveniently, the two things we need to make this hover happen is we need to get infinite stall glitch so we can hover on explosions. He's also going to need the hover boots so then he can rise above each explosion as well. And the whole purpose of this trick section here is to get the mirror shield early. Otherwise, you can go through Spirit Temple from the bottom and make your way through the temple, but it's a lot faster to do a hover or a jump to the top to get to the mirror shield. And his bomb count is very particular here as well. See, we can use the super slide to get across, but now he's going to set up the hover.
Alright, this should work. Good. Really? That actually didn't make it. Okay. Well, that's how Spirit Hover is sometimes. So, the idea was to backflip onto that little piece of land there, and then get some mirror shield that way, but instead we have to do a bit of movement inside Spirit Temple, which is fine.
Yeah, so for a marathon, this isn't too bad. If this was a real run, like a PB attempt, like probably would have done a reset there.
Yeah, I definitely would reset.
So he can super slide across and get through to the other side of the wall by equipping hover boots, and basically he's going to collect keys and make his way through the temple up to the mirror shield from the bottom.
Oh, this guy didn't. Got a bomb drop though, so
It's
we're
good to
fine.
get a bomb drop list.
I couldn't get one, but we got one. So there's a silver block blocking our way, and
Yep, so normally as a child, you would
clip
get
out
the
of bounds
silver
with the super
gauntlets,
slide.
as child, then return as adult, and then push the block through. But we can use super slides once again. So basically, Link will roll towards the bomb and try to grab it, and instead he's going to super slide backwards. From here, he'll equip the hover boots and clip through and make it to the other side. And basically, Lake will make his way through Spirit Temple.
Alright, first small key here. Just gotta clear this rupee room. First one we can get just by hovering over there, and then the rest is just movement. Oh, that boulder hit me. Cycles are a bit messed up now since I got hit, but it's whatever. No.
I
Try to
just
be
saw
cool.
that.
Alright. Those 1 and 2 small keys we'll need to make our way to the mirror shield. The next one is just by playing Zelda. But yeah, this just was like 2 minutes. A bit more since I actually tried Spirit Hover and failed it, but it's not too big of a deal for the purposes of a marathon.
To be fair, I thought it looked pretty good. I'm surprised it didn't work, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes these things happen, and like in speedrunning, you just gotta let it go. And just be like, you know, just continue on, have fun.
Yep. I've had a few runs die to it looking good and just failing for no reason. It's all good. There's a floor master that's invisible in this room. We're just gonna maneuver around the statue while we're pushing it. This third sun thing opens the door. So this floor master is just stuck behind the statue. Be right back real quick. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna make our way up to this hand over here. And this is the backup key if you have to go through Spirit Temple interior. I still was a little bit. So this spawns a chest on the other hand with a small key in it, and we can do a bit of a neat little hook shot to get up there without like walking all the way around and on top of the other half of the temple. We can just jump onto this little texture up here and then hook it out from here. Alright, onto the mirror shield. Alright. Alright, so this room has 3 Anubis like statue things, and I just waited nice. Alright, so we bombed this BMOS, and then the switch activates a firing in the middle of the room, and the Anubis thing just like copy your movements, and if we move into specific portions of the room.
I just saw up.
Yeah, I just didn't press Y again.
I'm glad you're having fun with it.
Alright. It's all in good fun. Bomb that guy to activate the switch. And we're almost to the mirror shield. So all this is what we would have skipped if we hit that. And like I said, it's fine for the purpose of the marathon, but that's an idea of how much time save it is. It's a big trick. But I'd rather fail Spirit Hover than like the Dawn Door or DC wrong move.
You definitely don't want to fail the wrong whoops in these speedruns, especially this category.
So kill that knuckle. We can crouch stab. Crouch stabs are OP. I don't think we ever explained how crouch stabs work. So crouch stabs don't have like an actual assigned damage value in this game. They instead take on the damage value of the last attack that you have used. So jump slashes deal 4 damage, which is the most damage that any sword can do. Well, not 4, but like the jump slash is the most damage that you can do with a sword. Just gotta equip here. And so we jump slashed into that chair and then crouch stabbed him a bunch and makes quick work of a lot of enemies.
Also, another cool thing is like normally the knuckle enemies are very dangerous, but if you stand on the just right of the left foot of the enemy and hold up left and power crouch stab, you can basically avoid the axe swings. So normally in casual play, they pretty much just swipe you within 2 or 3 hits. But with speedrunning, we basically position Link in a way that's favorable to not take damage, and it's pretty much a straightforward fight.
A little bit scammed on RNG there. I'm gonna try to triple farm here. Those Armos have a 50% chance of dropping a bomb and drop, and I got 1 from 3 of them, or from 4 of them, so it's a bit less than ideal, but it's all good. As we did with the bomb plot in DC, we can re-enter this room over and over again.
Yeah,
Get
basically stack the bombs.
over and over again. Oh, I got them. Okay, we're good. So normally we'd get SG off like this Triforce thing, but since we already activated it, it's the like text trigger is gone, so you have to get it off a bomb. Getting it hard here because I took a hit from the BMOS, and it messed up my health a bit.
Now, the cool thing about the speedrun is that we're going to do another boss key skip by skipping through the head. Normally in casual play, you would, get the mirror shield, you would burn the face basically and break it down, and then have the boss key and enter through the door. But with speedrunning, we can clip through the walls again, and Lake is going to do a nice little setup here to clip through.
It's late apparently. That's fine. We have a bit more health to spare. Alright. So similar to the BK skip in Water Temple, that's like the other version that you do in Water Temple. It doesn't work for this one just because of how the slopes work, but we do that. And there's another way you can get into this. That's kind of newish. You can clip like through the head and out of bounds with hover boots, and then roll and jump slash into the loading zone. But it requires like a specific angle that's hard for me to get with my controller, so I don't do it. It saves like 2 seconds and 3 bombs. 3 bombs doesn't matter too much for this category. So it's pretty much just 2 seconds that I don't care about. I'd rather just not void while trying it. Alright, you can explain this one.
So by damaging down Nibiru, are you going to do the skip, right? Yeah, so by damaging down Nibiru, what Lake wants to do is we want to take Nibiru down almost to death, and by clipping out of bounds and voiding out at the same time that Nibiru dies, we can skip the little cutscene that plays normally when you kill her.
So these are shots to bounce off that wall and clip out of bounds pretty much, and the bomb finishes off Nibiru. We just void and that skips the cutscene, like Rich said. Then we have half a heart, which is perfect for the incoming cutscene skip.
And our favorite RNG boss fight.
Yeah, I hate this boss so much.
It's a love-hate relationship.
No, it's just hate. Can I hookshot this thing? For me, it's just hate. Alright, so Twin Roba. Great boss casually. Complete. It's just terrible. In speedruns, because. So, how this boss fight works is. These two witches, I won't try to pronounce their names, but Twin Roba, flies around, and one of them will shoot you at some point, and you have to reflect that with a mirror shield back at the other one. You have to hit them 4 times, and then they'll move on to the next phase. The next phase is fine. The first phase is the only thing I don't like, and many speedrunners don't like about this. How much they fly around when they shoot, and all that. That's RNG. Not up to you. So, if they can fly around for ages, and then when they shoot, the other one can like be behind you, and you just can't reflect it into them. There's also a chance that after they shoot, after one of them shoots, they'll stay in the same spot and shoot again. And this is actually pretty good RNG, because this one actually shot right away, which is
And you'll
really
see
good.
that Lake is using the hookshot to position the twins as well. By shooting hookshot repeatedly, you can keep one of them spinning in place, and it makes it easier to line up the shield towards the enemy.
So, fire one's walking over here, I'm spamming hookshot to keep her there, and I reflect the beam into her. Nice and good. So far so good, nothing too bad. But things are good. Not even a stroke of bad. But that can change very quickly.
I think once I lost 2 minutes on this fight.
Yeah, I've lost similar amounts. Okay, I missed that shot because sometimes it's hard to miss, but that's my fault. It's hard to hit, but that's all good. So one more hit. Do it.
Yeah, and sometimes they can literally just fly around for like a minute straight and do nothing. And you lose your PvP phase.
Yeah.
Just like that. And you didn't do anything wrong.
Yep. Alright, so that was alright. I messed up the third shot, but other than that, decent RNG. That last one was a bit sketchy because they flew around weirdly.
And this second phase is
This second phase though, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, she's gonna shoot me with 3 beams of all the same type. And I can spin her after, and that'll just make her move to the next one faster. And so on the third one, I'm gonna jump down to her, and then we'll just kill her with the third one. Alright, decent Spirit Temple aside from failing Spirit Hover. But that's fine, we take these. Alright, bit of a long cutscene. This is actually a quick chance if Dale is alive and has any donations.
We do not have any donations, but I do want to real quick plug that we do have merch for the event. It's available in the US, EU, and AU, so just about anywhere in the world you're able to get yourself some SpeedDocs merch, and even some event-exclusive SpeedDocsAthon merch. So if you want to show your support, you can donate, or you can buy some merch.
Sick. Alright, so after this cutscene, similar things to Shadow and Water Temple. Just gonna do Ocarina items on the blue warp, and die with the bomb. On the right frame. Rota. Look at the bottle in my hand. So Ocarina's on the edge of Blue Warp, and then we're just gonna walk, grab this ledge, and then pull a bomb. Grab Ocarina real quick so we can play Bolero after this. Okay, looks good. We should get the Spirit Medallion here and not have to watch the cutscene. And then we're on to Fire Temple. Yeah, I haven't learned that. I'm too lazy. I don't have a save state for it.
Lake does his hybrid setup between the two.
You can't bother me to go all the way through Twin River in practice. I should learn it though. I'll learn it eventually.
So this temple's pretty comfy.
Alright, Fire Temple.
Goron Tunic, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. This temple's not. There's not a lot you can really die to in here, unless you mess up majorly. Which now I'm probably gonna die. So.
That's alright, I believe.
All right. There's a cutscene in the next room where Durania talks to you and is like, I don't know, kick this dragon's ass. And we don't want to watch that cutscene because it's long. He just talks forever.
Yeah. So we're gonna do some camera manipulation here. So by dropping the bottle and picking it up, we're gonna do a trick with it's time stop, right? Just gotta make sure I'm doing it right. Yeah. So and basically we're gonna manipulate the camera so that Link doesn't face Durania the entire time. And what he can do is he can go through the room where Durania is, get to the switch, and get the key and leave without ever watching the cutscene. And it saves a little bit of time instead of watching the cutscene.
Yep. We got fish trolled pretty hard there. Trying to dupe a bottle over our choose, because we want nuts later for Deku Tree. And if we don't put it on another bottle, their fish will just disappear, and we need the fish later for Deku Tree as well, and for the rest of these dungeons, so... We got fish trolled there, so the dupe didn't really go through.
Yeah, sometimes the fish would just flop away from you and like ruin your run.
Yeah. I saw Marco lose a run to that happening on Fire Temple cutscene skip, wrong warp, and that was sad. Because with Heat Timer, you don't exactly have a lot of time to spare for fish trolls. Right, but as long as we don't look at Drainy here, we're safe from the cutscene. So, got out of that room just fine. This temple's pretty long, just because there's no good way to get up to the Megaton Hammer, which is like at the top of the dungeon.
Yeah, it's a pretty linear progression throughout the temple. Get the keys, go through the next one, get the keys, etc.
What? I never targeted that block. But yeah, most of this is just moving well, and there's a few tricks here and there. So these rooms, if we didn't get Tunic, these rooms that the Gorons are in are safe from the Heat Timer, but this big lava room is not safe from the timer. So you have to do specific movement to not take damage here so that your Heat Timer is as big as possible for the next stretch.
Yep.
And then after this room, this next stretch is like one of the hardest parts about 4 Hearts Fire. So there's 2 keys here, and then there's 2 locked doors up ahead. And then we can skip a bit of the dungeon after these 2 doors. A neat little clip. Yeah, this stretch from after I just went through that door to until I open not this door but the next door, because the Heat Timer transfers through these because they're both heated areas. This whole section you just have to be clean. I'm just gonna push this block for a while. Alright, and up ahead, normally you'd have to go through, if you've played this game before, there's like a boulder maze, and there's 2 Gorons you have to free there. We can skip all of that. A neat little clip. In just a second here. Get an angle. I'm grabbing this ledge in a certain way. Then turn up, pull a bomb, and you can get this key early and skip the whole entire Goron maze.
Yeah, besides the boss key skip, that's like the one major skip that we have in this temple.
Yeah. And like the Hess through the fire maze, I guess. Even glitchless can skip that though, if rolls. Normally there's like a whole another section you have to get through.
And fighting the mini bosses.
Yeah. Okay, so a bit of a long climb there, and now we're above the Goron maze. Or the boulder maze, rather. And jump slash for a bit of extra distance while that cutscene plays.
You definitely don't want to fall down there.
I'm gonna grab this heart up here. Yeah.
Not ideal.
I'm gonna grab the heart for safety. Hopefully we can hit the tests, because it's fast if we do. I like to go fast. So we're actually just going too fast for these firewalls to... Cover that one, but it hit me on the correct side. But we're going too fast for these firewalls to actually catch us while we're going through, and then we can roll into that one so that like the game thinks that we're still burning, even though we're not. And we can just backflip through that one. Yeah, it's nice. Alright, flare answer. His first spawn is always the same, and then it's RNG after that. Spawn doesn't really matter. You can stand in a few spots to just have him not hit you ever. I like to stand in this little corner here.
And there's an interesting thing about this little mini boss is that the Master Sword does the most damage to this boss. If you were to fight this boss with the big Goron sword, you would actually be doing less damage, which is strange.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, you can normally ride this elevator early during the stealth cutscene, but yeah. I wanted to see if that guy would drop me a bomb.
There's a 50% chance.
There's like a 50% chance, I think.
Chance.
Yeah. I was a bit low on bomb, so I'm gonna just take that 50-50 for safety. I'll definitely take those. Bomb this thing and then climb up, and we can climb this while this like crystal cutscene is going on. Bit of extra distance there as opposed to like climbing up then dropping the bomb. We're just about to the Megaton Hammer, which is required to defeat both the boss of this temple. You cannot defeat Volvagia without the Megaton Hammer.
You can damage Volvagia, but you can't defeat her without it.
Yeah. A bit of a monk-ass little pathway here. It's not actually that scary for speedrunners, but when I was casually playing this game, this was definitely pretty scary.
Yeah, the other day I slid up straight down.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was just like, oh god, why?
Alright, so we can Hest and clip out of this room and fall down, if I can Hest. Okay, and we clip down here and then jump slash at the right time. And this is gonna carry us all the way back down to the boss door in the Daruni room. And now we're at both.
Beautiful. So did you want to explain the hitbox of Volvagia for this fight?
Yeah, sure. So there's two hitboxes that Volv has when you're fighting her. Volv has a hitbox when they're in the ground, and a hitbox when they're flying above. And the hitbox when they're flying above still is active when they go down into a hole. So during this cutscene, at the beginning of the fight, Volv goes down into the hole right in front of me, and that hitbox is still active, and I can bomb it in a certain place to hit Volv. We can damage down Volv pretty quickly in just 3 cycles of her popping out over and over again. So if this goes well, Volv shouldn't fly up at all.
So the bombs will basically damage Volvagia down right to the end point, instead of having to fly up and down like a regular cycle.
You can see I'm bombing like the bottom left part of this hole. If I bomb, for instance, the top right part of this hole, would not work.
And we also want to time these bomb placements as well. Like, we don't want to rush each bomb that'll drop, otherwise the cycle won't work correctly.
I want to damage down a little there from that last bomb. We're gonna die here. It just takes less time to die if we damage down a bit
Okay,
more.
so Lake's going to be setting up another wrong warp.
Yep. So, Fire Temple is unique as adult dungeons in the fact that it's the only one that doesn't have the Sacred Realm cutscene after it. It actually has a CAC cutscene after it, so you can abuse that to wrong warp. Once again, you're gonna do a setup and Ocarina items onto this warp. And this is a pretty straightforward movement. This is like one of the easiest wrong warps in the game. Walk. fall. And we're gonna equip a hook shot, Mercury Tunic here, so we can take damage from the lava. Few setups there, and then we just wait to die. And this will take us to the beginning of Forest Temple, which is the last dungeon we're gonna do before the trials. We're saving Deku Tree for last for a special reason, which we'll get into when we get there. Yeah, we're in Forest Temple now.
Fantastic.
We're gonna go up here to get a key, and then we're gonna fight Stalfos to get another key, and then we'll get into the...
Would you say Forest Temple is probably your favorite?
No, I am really bad at this temple.
The
On average.
Stalfos or just the movement in general?
Movement in general. I think my favorite in this category, this route, I want to say Jabu, just because it's cool.
Yeah, Jabu's pretty cool.
But Fire, I guess, because it's easy to go fast. We're barring Jabu just because it's a special coolness factor.
Oh, are you gonna do some safety saves for this one?
Alright, so quick. If my bomb count is actually threatening to be low, then yeah, but if I don't. If I die to Stalfos, there's no difference if I safety save or not. So, Stalfos fight, kind of like the Knuckle fight, where we want to jump slash and then crouch stab a bunch of times. It's easier to get through their shields with crouch stabs. Jump slashes from the Stalfos deal 2 hearts of damage. A bit Monka to take hits from them. There's a fairy there to revive the
like we got
health
that fairy.
There's hearts in the next Stalfos fight stream, so should be good. That's true, I thought if it was a void. It only died before and it did not respawn. I guess I'll save.
Yeah, you want to safety save after getting the second key.
Pause buffer. Alright, so we're gonna do a damage boosted jump here. Frame rate. Safety save now. Good. So we equip hover boots on the second frame of damage there, and that's the frame that Link gets his like recoil speed from getting hit by the bomb. And we can preserve that momentum a bit to have a big jump up there, and we can skip a key that way. And we're gonna do a series of ground jumps. Do you want to explain these ground jumps?
Yeah, sure. Just waiting for the stream to catch up. Me too. Okay, so when Link tries to grab the bomb as it explodes, Lake will be able to take that property, and Link will basically pop up and grab the top of the block so he can go through. Normally, you would have the silver gauntlet so you can push the blocks and move through progressively, like in non-glitch runs. But basically, he's using it to his advantage so he can get through forest pretty fast. I like the setups you do, by the way. Pretty handy.
Thank you. I've worked hard to not be bad at Forest Temple because I've been pretty bad at Forest Temple for a while. So there's a Navi trigger here, and we can just avoid it by side hopping and just rolling around the edges here. There's another one up here, which tells you not to get hit by a Forest Master. Avoid all that by just walking around it. Kinda weird. How did I do that? Some cool movement down here if I didn't make it look uncool. Alright, next up is fight. I'm gonna get a heart here. Get a heart here. This one's the scariest out of all of them because there's a big hole in the middle, and he can walk over it, but we can't. So
Yeah, it's one of the more scary fights.
I'm cheating for him. That one down though. No, 2 more.
And you can also read the patterns of the way the Starfires are moving towards you. So there's certain little gaps in the movement where you can damage them.
Yeah, you want them to gem slash because they're vulnerable while they're gem slashing. Right, we have the bow. The bow is pretty much just so that you can shoot arrows, light arrows specifically at the orbs, and also for forest trial.
Yep, so like we were doing a boss key skip here, so you can go from the bow room straight to the boss room from here. By using hammer and hitting the wall, he's going to equip the hover boots, and he's going to slide out of bounds, clip through, and then fall and touch the loading zone to take him down to the boss room.
Cool. Now we're in Phantom Ganon's room. This fight's pretty straightforward. There's one special thing. Well, I guess a couple special things we do. First thing is we're gonna try to get hit by Phantom Ganon's lightning to go down to half a heart and shoot him on the same cycle. It's a bit tricky. Should be able to get it. Decently consistent.
Do you normally go for this in runs, or is this a marathon strat?
What? The health?
Yeah, getting damage from Phantom Ganon.
Yeah, this is a every run shot. Wastes almost no time compared to damaging down on Stealthiless, and it's much less scary.
Yep, and much like earlier in the runs, he's setting up for another death cutscene skip at the end, because there's a really long cutscene if you want to watch it.
Yeah.
But we can also just die on the warp, just like the other parts of the run.
Right. We took that damage and shot him, which is good, and we got actually Alpha Bomb just to save some frames from the alternative, which is Navi text. Where is this guy? There he is. Alright, so one more hit will bring him out of the paintings, and then we use this Infinite Sword glitch combined with this bow to stop him from getting up and just kill him really quickly. I shoot him once to make him shoot faster, then that's going to reflect because of ISG, and then just going to spam arrows to make him spin his thing to let us hit him more. So, that was a good fight.
That's pretty good.
Yep, that was good.
Lake, I'm loving your
And
gameplay,
now-
by the way.
Thank you, thank you. It's going pretty well. Barring Spirit Hover, this has been a pretty good run. Alright, so like Rich said, we really don't want to fail this. It's not the end of the world like kind of Water Temple would be. It's not the end of the world if Water Temple failed either, but there's no like ramifications other than just time loss. We don't have to take any detours like we would have if we failed Water Temple. This is also a kind of weird one, because you want to pause buffer to a certain frame and you can't really see what you're pause buffering for until the last 2 frames of
Yeah,
it.
it's one of those frames where you want to pause a little bit earlier so you can work your way into the working frame.
I one-paused this yesterday. After like 6 pausing this first part.
You just felt like going for it.
Yeah, pretty much. Alright, so we want to buffer 2 frames there, and then I want to see this fence for 2 frames. 1. Okay, good. Then just gonna do some equips here. Walk into this pole, let the bomb kill us. That should work.
And you can tell it works because the death animation is the same every time when you do it successfully.
Yeah.
We can tell when it works as soon as Link dies, or as soon as Link gets hit. And it's always the same animation each time.
Alright, so optimally I would just play Bolero and then save warp to go do trials and watch Light Arrow cutscene. But I like to be a bit safer and take an alternative route of buying bombs before doing trials, because bomb time's pretty tight here. I don't actually know how many bombs I have right now, but I need at minimum 5. I think I have like 6. I have 4. So I don't even have enough bombs. So that's why we're getting more bombs. And then we'll just save warp and go to trials there.
And it's convenient that Bolero just puts us in the right place. That's
Yeah.
why it's the one song that we get
Really nice.
for world movement.
It's a very, not a very long detour to get these bombs.
And also the shop is open because we got the Goron Tunic earlier. If you were to do the more optimized route, you would have to actually clip through from above or through from the side with a super slide. But because we already opened it by getting the Goron Tunic, it's easy just to go buy bombs instead.
Another instance of equip swap there, we're gonna equip swap stick so that we can do a glitch called action swap, but for now we have a 5-minute cutscene to sit through.
Yeah, so Dale, Any donations you want to read through?
Looks like it is slowing down for the night, but if anyone's still awake and still has money left in their wallets, then go ahead and throw those in. I would be happy to read them.
Thank you. So this is the one like mandatory cutscene that we watch in most runs because we have something called a source requirement in a lot of categories. In this one particular, we're not allowed to glitch.
Actually, you grab water real quick, by the way.
Yeah, go for it. So I'll explain this cutscene. So this Light Arrows cutscene is pretty much the longest one we're going to watch throughout the run. At the end of this cutscene, you get the light arrows from Zelda, and you can't really skip this cutscene for the most part. We get it at the end of the cutscene, and basically Zelda gets taken away. So we need the light arrows to do the trials, basically. So you'll see the trial orbs later on after this cutscene. And yeah, it's one of the more lengthy ones. Some of us like to use it for a bathroom break, like Lake. So when he gets back, he'll be nice and fresh and ready to go. So I hope everyone's enjoyed the run so far. Lake's actually played really well. He hasn't made any major mistakes, aside from just Spirit Hover not really working earlier. This is a really, really good run. And if all goes well, he should beat the estimate by quite a lot.
Yeah. I gave myself a generous estimate because when I first submitted, I had just switched routes and I wasn't sure how used to it I would be, how fast it was, etc. So
yeah, so up until this point, we've almost collected all the medallions and stones. Basically, all that's left is to do the trials and deck tree.
yeah, and we saved deck tree, and I guess we can hit on that now. Deck tree has a wrong warp also, and that takes us to the end of the game. Pretty much. It takes us to the collapse sequence when Ganon's castle is collapsing after you just beat Ganondorf, and we just get to Ganon that way.
Yeah, so in previous routes, we would do a wrong warp from Fire Temple to the pre-collapse cutscene room, and do a really, really difficult hover to get to the top. But conveniently, a new setup was found recently. I wouldn't say recently, but quite relatively recently, which allows us to do a much easier
in the
setup.
past years,
and it's also done in the current 100% route too.
Yep.
Way easier.
Yeah. And one thing to note, you may have saw us like wrong warp from fire to forest and be like, how can you wrong warp to another place? So dying, for instance, takes us to a different place than if we went through the door in Fire Temple at the same frame as the warp wants to take us. It would take us to a different place. And also voiding takes you to more places as well. So there's a bunch of options with wrong warping.
I was thinking, how many times have we collectively seen this cutscene now?
Probably close to a couple hundred for me.
I think I've
done enough GSR and MST runs
by the end of this cutscene. Like, oh yeah, we got control of
yeah.
it again. Let's go.
You're just mashing endlessly and just. I mean, if you're on PB pace, this cutscene's actually kind of nice to calm your nerves.
It gives you time to breathe.
Because after like 50 minutes to an hour of rough gameplay that you need to nail,
focus, trick after trick.
Yeah, it's nice to have a 5-minute break before more tough gameplay that you need to nail for 30 minutes. So I think it's actually nice in this category. Other categories like GSR, however, that's a bit of a drag because there's a lot more cutscenes in there, and 100% hardly even noticeable.
Yeah. So after this cutscene, you're going to see pretty much the feature part of the run of this route, aside compared to other routes like all dungeons, Ganondorf source requirement. None of them really do the trials except glitchless. So in glitchless, you have to do the trials to defeat the game. But in this goal-based category, we want to do the trials because it's fun, basically, and it's challenging.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of this category existing, is because of trials, and no other category really touches trials because there's ways to get around them.
There are ways to skip trials, but because this is a goal-based category, we want to do the trials, and it's pretty clutch for the most part if you're on PB pace. Some of the areas are kind of easy, some of the sections are quite, easy to fail, but let's put a lot of work into this. So
hopefully they'll go well. I'm pretty confident in my trials as of late, so should be fine. Maybe a few mistakes here and there, but shouldn't be too big of a deal.
Yeah, and you got a nice juicy bump count for this one, so.
Yep.
We do. Right after I said we don't have any donations, we got a $20 donation from A Zephyr that says Light Arrow cutscene hype. Yeah,
Hi.
and with
Nice.
that, I think we've actually blown away $1,100. And not only did we hit $1,000 tonight, we blew past it. So thank you
Fantastic.
so
Nice.
much,
Amazing.
everyone.
Thank
Very
you
good.
everyone for donating. We're really glad.
Very much. We have a few more smaller cutscenes to sit through. Just, hi, this is Gan's castle, and here's a bridge. We do have a few more minutes. Have anything else to say before we get on to the rest of the run?
So earlier in the route, you remember that Lake got Furor's Wind. The reason why was to get that was to do a trick called Equip Swap, and for 2 items that we want to use. We want it for the boomerang for earlier in the run, and now we want it for the Deku Stick as adult. So the trick that will be coming up is called Action Swap. So he'll be able to pretty much shoot a fire arrow without actually having fire arrows, because normally in older routes you would actually watch the water cutscene, you would go get the fire arrows, and you would shoot it for the first trial. But instead, we're going to use Action Swap to do that.
Yeah, or other routes got Din's Fire.
and Din's Fire
for
as
this
well.
And 64 route still gets Din's Fire.
Thank you, Shirley, by the way.
Thank you, Shuli. Alright, here we go, trials. First one is Forest, and like Richard said, we're gonna use Action Swap here. So we're gonna do a little bit of setup here to get in a good position for the BMOs to hit us to activate the switch. I honestly don't even really know how the switch works, I just know how to do it. It's one of the few ones that doesn't really make sense
Yeah,
to
this
me.
is the one trick where it's like, well, I just press stick and somehow I'm shooting a fire arrow. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna buffer to the first frame. They hit my shield, which is luckily that frame. I kind of haphazardly pause buffered to. And now when we use our stick, it will shoot a fire arrow in kind of a weird way. But this Wolfos doesn't mess with me as much as it
I
did.
appreciate that we're being honest about this one part of the run.
Alright. We just shoot that lit torch and arrow up to the top one, then we just use the Deku Stick that we equipped up for the rest of them. That's good. I did a reset a few days ago and my stick broke when I tried to do that, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah. I broke stick once by just spamming stick by accident. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. The Wolfos wouldn't leave me alone, and just forced me to break my stick. Alright, the rest of this trial is just collecting silver rupees in a fast manner. We have shot this thing fast enough, this BMOS won't kill us. Alright, good. That was a little close, but take those. Last rupee here. Actually want some extra magic. Rest of the trials. I equip, unequip, not that. Boots real quick. Okay. So that's 4 shell then.
Nice.
Whoa.
Yeah, so normally in the casual playthrough of the game, you would do all the trials before fighting Ganondorf. We're gonna do all the trials and skip Ganondorf and go straight to Ganon.
And then just run
Yeah,
away.
Just do the trials.
Just gonna play Bolero and go out.
Basically.
Yeah.
Do all the hard work.
We're
and
not
don't even
fighting
fight
Ganondorf. Mm-hmm. Alright, water trial. This is one of the easier ones, luckily. Hopefully we don't mess it up somehow. Gonna pull out hookshot and get into a little position here and wait for these freezers to come over here, and then we're gonna use them like we did with Noboru cutscene skip, kind of. We're gonna hookshot them up against this wall and clip through, and then just quick spin them a bunch.
Yep, and it allows you to pull through the red eyes, basically.
Yep. Or just getting blue fire in a bottle.
And let's say you and
Right, and then we got a neat little
yeah,
jump.
sorry, I was gonna say if you were to fail it, you could just get the blue flame as well. So it's not over if you fail that trick.
Yeah. Not too big of a deal. Neat little jump there. It's kind of precise, but not too bad. And then you can hit the switch through the wall because this game is really well programmed.
So convenient. I was gonna say, it just seems a little bit too convenient. Not that we complain.
Alright. And that is water trial. And now for the 2 hardest trials in this section. Shadow and fire are a bit brutal. Forest, water, and spirit and light are pretty trivial most of the time.
But
these are the 2 run killers.
so normally, with the shadow trial coming up, you would normally use fire arrow to light up the torches and run across the blocks. and use Lens of Truth to see where you're going, but we know how to move through this area. So Lake's going to be setting up a hyper-extended super slide and equipping the hover boots, and by targeting and moving Link in certain angles and directions, he's going to make Link pretty much super slide across the entire way. And also skip getting the gauntlets as well, which you won't need to get through the Golden Gauntlets block later on. The big block, anyway.
And we pause over to a specific frame here to make sure our angle's good for this S. Sick. Did this rusty switch to a door, and that is Shadow Child. Also, there's like invisible platforms there that we just knew.
Yeah, it does look scary, but it is pretty much stationary where they are from where you move, so you can pretty much just roll straight across.
Now on to traditionally my arch nemesis in Trials. Recently it's not bad, but when I was first loading this category, Fire Trial was the bane of my existence, so we'll see how this goes.
You got this, Lake.
Go. In addition, to note, this is another room that Goron's Tunic helps with. You would have a heat timer if you didn't get Goron's Tunic. This is... I kinda chickened out there because it took too long, but it's fine. But it's no big deal. I played that early. There's also a heart here I can grab. So we do a little setup here to get a certain angle, and then we just run off this and then grab and clip through the block, because once again, this game is very well programmed.
Just very conveniently, you can just walk through the the block and get the silver rupee.
Alright, so good players use this guy to do what I'm about to do, but I'm not a good player, so I'll use a bomb.
Yeah, so there's two ways to boost yourself across, basically. You can use the torch slug to damage you and propel you forward and use the speed to basically push you across and get the silver rupee, but you can also use the bomb to explode and generate the speed from there and push you across and do the same setup, basically, from that point.
Yeah, I like the bomb just because it's more predictable. Yeah. Dude, I keep pause buffering one frame. So unfortunately I've wasted enough health to die after this, but we get this, it's no big deal. Fine. Yeah. Alright. And now we're gonna void here and then just die, but it's fine.
Yep, and the door, because you've gotten all the silver rupees, the door's still unlocked, so it doesn't matter if you die here. You basically just respawn from the beginning and just go ahead as you normally would.
Just waste a bit of time, but as far as marathons, not a big deal at all. We're actually respawning at the exit of Shadow Trial, because it's like the last respawn point. Which said, all the silver rupees are gone, so we can go ahead and complete this trial. We're gonna do a mega side hop, and like mega flips, it's just a bomb-empowered side hop.
And then we use the hover boost to extend that basically distance, to stretch it out as far as possible to get across.
And just barely grab this ledge at the end here. Normally you use long shot and casual play to hook shot that target over there. Fire trial.
Good job, Blake.
Alright, thank you. That was alright. Not perfect, but we don't need perfect. Alright, so there's a big block in front of Light Trial. Normally you're supposed to get gold gauntlets from Shadow Trial and yeet it into the tower.
Just throw it into the sky.
But we can clip through it. Yeah, it's actually really funny to watch in glitch look.
Yeah, because you just never see it in speedruns, like glitch speedruns. Then when you actually watch, you're like, oh, I forgot about this concept.
Yeah. I messed up the super slide a bit, but back it up. Okay, apparently that angle doesn't work. We're gonna do a new angle.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was just slightly off before. That's okay.
Alright. So clip into that block and can open the door. There we go. That was a little sloppy, but all good. Let's do some equips. Finish off the remainder of these enemies. this wall key so we can move forward, and then the hardest puzzle in the game coming up. I don't know how people figure this out casually. The Triforce symbol on the ground and nothing else in the room? Wow. I don't know what I'm supposed
I
to do
wonder how many
here.
people actually did get stuck there. It's like, oh my god, what song do I play? How
close to the end am I? Maybe 10 minutes, I assume? I'd guess. Hard to know about my splits, but I would say 10 minutes.
Yeah, so far this has been a really solid run.
Yep. Definitely take these. I don't want to go for that, and I don't know why I did, but we got it. You can beat those boulders around. Normally I just wait for that first one to pass, so it's a little easier, but for gaming
I think you're just feeling the momentum right now. You're like, yeah, I got past the hard trial. We're good now.
I don't have enough magic for this. Okay, there's a magic part right there. It's a little awkward for this upcoming trial, but it's not too bad. Waste some more magic. Easy. Magic is a little more awkward for this category than it is for, or not this category, but this route, than it is for the other route that most people do. Because we use FW once and then
so you have to fill the magic
at
meter
open spot as opposed to the other route. Yeah. That's all good. Last trial here, and then onto our last dungeon. Light arrows.
We do your favorite trick, bow extension.
Yep.
I can't believe I didn't know about that. Flo tells me, yeah, you should join the bow
It's so
extension.
stupidly
Like,
easy.
what? I've been dropping a chew in this thing this whole time.
Alright, so this is some simple Silver Rupee collection, and you used to do a weird shot, which is a pretty hard trick, off that torch slug, which is pretty crazy. It looks really cool, but instead of doing that, you can just shoot this crystal through the bars here with bow extension. It's so ridiculous. And then we just use our empty magic meter to burn this thing with this torch. And then
And the
sundial.
very nice. Even the world record holder does bow extension.
Yeah, there's just like no reason not to. Alright, so extra magic here, and then we're finally getting nuts back right here. Pick up that nut, and we now have nuts in our inventory instead of a bottle. We go like the entire run without nuts.
That's amazing how
crazy.
like we get nuts right at the end of this route.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
You can pick them up from a style post if you like want to, and it drops, but
trial's done by the way.
this is where you do it.
All that's left is
Trial's
Deku
done.
and Ganon.
Yep.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was alright. Nothing special, but nothing terrible either.
Speedrunners are quite hard on themselves.
Died in
guys.
fire trial, and
Even if you're on world record pace and you're 30 seconds out of your PB, you're still gonna say something like, this route,
Yep.
this run wasn't that.
It's alright. Wasn't that good. Look at these mistakes I made.
It could have been better, by like a minute.
Yeah, it always can be better. Alright, so we actually go in here because we can't play songs on the outer part of that for whatever reason. So we just go in here to play Bolero, and we're off to Deku Tree.
And also, the way this route works is, by the time we get to Ganon, there's normally this cutscene that plays, and you see the tower collapse. But the way we route it is that we'll be able to skip that cutscene, but when we get there, we'll explain it further. I thought I'd just throw that in
Yeah,
there.
it saves a nice chunk of time. And I'm gonna buy bombs once more. If I had like a really good trials, I could skip buying bombs here because I'd have 15, but I'd have like 9 or 11 or something. For safety, especially.
And also, Bolero just takes us
For
straight
safety
to
mostly.
Kikuri Forest, like just so conveniently. Once again,
Yeah.
it's just like the perfect focal point for the route.
Bolero is a very nice song for this. And we can skip Minuet, which you normally get from just like walking to Forest Temple, but since we wrong over there, we don't ever earn it. Off we go. Always acting up a bit. Alright, so off to Deku Tree. Just go to Lost Woods and then get lost. Takes us to Kikuri Forest. Then, normally you can't get into Deku Tree as an adult, but we can get around the low trigger for Deku Tree, or for, I didn't equip. We get a lot of the load trigger for that area because there's like 2 parts to Kikiri Forest. And one of these methods is hessing hover boots onto this cliff, and then
Yeah, there's quite a few ways to get to the Jeki Tree from here. Depends on what you prefer, really. This would be the second fastest way, I believe.
Yeah, second fastest.
And the fastest would be doing the Hess all the way behind the tree.
My controller, please. 1 second.
Controller has a mind of its own. I'm seeing it now.
Yeah.
It's doing the
It's all good. Yeah. Alright, so the Deku Tree's mouth is like an actor, so it's not there when you get into it unloaded. With the loading zone's delay. So, alright. So now we're gonna do 2, 3, 1 skip. There's the scrubs at the bottom of this this dungeon, and if you played this before, you know what I'm talking about. But we can do a mega flip and skip all that.
So a little small thing that Lake did there was skip Navi by equipping Deku Nuts over Hookshot.
Yep. The hookshot put away animation makes it so that Navi can't talk to you. Alright, now we're at Goma. So, about like 6 minutes left in this run.
Yep. We're doing the first boss, second last.
we're on the first we're on the chronologically first boss of the game.
The actual first boss. No slingshot, by the way.
So, and no slingshot, we don't need slingshot. This boss is pretty easy. Because now we have nuts. We can just nut and then stab her a bunch. One more nut to stun block her. So let's go mid dead. And now we're gonna... I'm gonna save warp.
Yeah,
not save warp, but I'm gonna save for safety.
Okay, so, yep, so Lake's gonna set up now. So, yeah, I can explain this. So now we're gonna set up a wrong warp to get to the castle collapse cutscene. Before that. So in order to do that, we actually need to remove the wall slab here. And there's 2 ways to do that. You can either save and reset and go back down, or you can void out from the room. So what Lake's going to do is get infinite sword glitch and hover above bombs in the corner of this door here. And by pulling sword at the correct frame, he'll clip underneath and fall out of bounds. And what will happen is he will reload from the beginning of the room, and the slab will be out of the way, so you can do the wrong warp setup.
So we just clipped out, and we're gonna void, and we'll reload at the start of the run, like I said. And now, the last OI of the run.
Yep, so this will be the final wrong warp before we get to the end of the game. And we're going to use Ocarina items and jump into the warp, and we're going to throw 2 Deku Nuts, and then do a little bit of precise movement to get the correct entering frame. And if we enter the door at the right frame with the right timing from the blue warp, it'll take us to somewhere else.
And Rich really knows this wrong.
Yeah, I've done it like probably 7,000 times.
Just a few. Not the specific setup, but the wrong warp in general. Oh, I failed it. That's why we safety save.
And this is why we safety save, chat.
Yep. So, that was a bit late. I just took too many steps. I thought I might have when I did it, when I first drew the first nuts.
Yeah, so the good thing about backups is, well, it's possible to do backups in the first place. Like, it's not completely over. With marathons, you heard earlier, Lake is like, I'm going to do a safety save here. Because there's always a risk that you can fail the wrong warps. You can fail the cutscene skips. So with marathons, we typically try to prevent that as much as possible, but sometimes these things happen. Very rare that we'll fail this wrong warp. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it kind of hurts. Because you don't expect to fail it.
Yeah. Bit out of range there. A lot of range. Alright, so we're just gonna repeat exactly what I just did, basically, minus the Goma fight and the void.
And also, when Lake gets to the room at the bottom, he's gonna pause so the cutscene point is set correctly. And then he'll just redo the setup one more time.
I have to pause as adult. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you pause as adult when you get into the Goma room.
Okay.
When you pause and unpause, it'll set the cutscene pointer correctly. Whereas the child Link, you pause in the twins' house. Oh, no, the Link's house in 1.2.
Alright, so back into Goma's room.
Yeah.
And now I guess we pause here. Pause and unpause.
And then it should be fine from there.
And that's kind of similar to the weird movement I was doing in Jabu Jabu, just to make sure we don't crash.
Yeah.
Game's just weird in a lot of ways. Alright, so redoing this. Should get it this time. Alright, this should work. Alright, and now we're in the final clap sequence, and we're in one of the rooms that you normally go through in the clap sequence, but like before the clap sequence is even activated. So we're gonna do a neat setup here to super slide out of bounds. A little bit early there. We got plenty of bombs, so it's no biggie.
I love your bomb count, by the way.
Yeah. Alright, so clip out of bounds there, jump slash into the room right below us, and we're just gonna backwalk down these stairs, through this hallway, down these stairs that you can't see, and into the final room of the collapse sequence. And as Rich mentioned earlier, the way we did this is, it makes it so that the collapse cutscene of the tower actually going down doesn't actually appear, so we just skip right to the Ganon fight pretty much. Got the kiss.
Got the kiss.
Double kiss.
Double kiss.
Double kiss. Alright, so real quick note about the Ganon fight. Ganon knocks away your sword at the beginning of the battle, but we can prevent that from happening by super sliding into the fight and just holding R the entire time. If like my controller freaks out or something, we can equip the Megaton Hammer and carry on as usual, but I like to keep the sword for this fight. It just lets you fight Ganon a lot faster than you would otherwise.
Yeah, it's just a lot more convenient for
So
the
I'm
first
gonna
phase.
jump slash. Just gonna jump slash to store the 4 damage there. Then super slide and just hold R. And the reason for this is not because you shield the slash, it's because Link is in like a busy state. Similar to how we skip the owls. You just can't get interacted with. Ganon's gonna be all angry here, I'm just gonna hold R. That shot looks really funny to me. Just zooms into his shield.
And when we say hold R, we mean it. Like if you let go of R early, the sword does get knocked away.
I mean, if you look at my hands right now, I use both hands. I don't want to let this button go.
That down.
Yeah.
Here we go, chat. Almost finished the run. Let's do this.
The first phase of Ganon will end in 3 hits. You're not supposed to have Master Sword here, and so Master Sword does the full damage it's supposed to, as opposed to every other item, which is just reduced down to 1 damage. So 3 hits to this tail and he's done. And we have to actually go pick up the Master Sword that we got knocked out of our hand, but didn't get knocked out of our hand, just so the fight continues, because Ganon won't do anything until you pick up the Master Sword. So, let's head on over, and 5 more hits to finish the game. Alright, good. GG's.
Really good run, Lake. Really good run. Especially for a
that was
marathon,
nice
that was
for a
really
marathon.
good.
Yeah. I don't even know what the time is, but...
It'll be like just a low 2:11, I think.
Yes.
So the timer ends once you have the final slash on Ganon.
Yeah, so time. Sick.
Great job, Blake.
So that was Ocarina of Time, Medallion Stone's Trials. Want to thank Rich for helping out with commentary. You did a great job. I really appreciate you helping me out. One big shout out to the entire Ocarina of Time community. Best community I've ever interacted with. Ever.
Absolutely.
They're such wonderful people. And really good friends.
And thank you everyone for donating and contributing to the fund. We really appreciate it, guys. We hope you enjoyed the run.
Big shout out to everybody who's been
MST is
donating.
a fantastic category if you want to get into this game.
Yeah, if you want to check me or Rich out, we're both doing this this category at the moment. I'm obviously doing this route, and Rich is doing the previous route that I was mentioning before. that does Spirit Jump and doesn't do the wrong warp from Jabu. So we're both on a grind for sub 2. Rich is on a longer grind than I am, but I'm going for sub 2, he's going for world record, so you can check us. You can check either of us out.
Thank you for watching, everybody. We really appreciate it, and we hope you like the next run coming up too.
Actually, we do have a bit more time before we're going to be ready for the Final Fantasy X run. 10-2 rather.
Okay.
Would you guys be down to do like a post-run interview sort of thing? Just talk about the run, maybe what went well, what didn't?
Sure. I'll be back in just a second, and then we can do that.
Alright. Thank you for the GGs, by the way. Appreciate it. Yeah, on the topic of what went wrong, big mistakes were Spirit Hover, and then obviously failing that last wrong warp from Deku Tree to Collapse Skip. I think everything else went pretty well. There were a few minor things, but those were the only really major things. I think I played pretty well for most of the dungeons. I played well for all the things that I needed to play well for, so we take those.
That's always what you want to happen in a speedrun for sure. So I know like I said before during intermission, I've never actually played Ocarina of Time, but looking at this and looking at the things you're doing, like it seems really, I don't know if hard to control is necessarily what I'm going for, but it just seems like there's
a lot. This game is really broken.
As old as the game is, and as clunky as I guess it can probably be at times, like, how do you recommend someone even get started learning this sort of thing? Because it's non-stop.
There's definitely a few. Yeah, there's definitely a few categories that are more tame than others. GSR is something we mentioned during the run. It stands for Ganon Source Requirement. It's a nice like hour and a half minute length for like an intermediate person. And it is a lot of it's easy to finish a run of that category. It's hard to optimize, but it's easy to get into, I would say, compared to other categories. I don't think any OOT categories are necessarily easy.
Yeah, there's nothing ever truly
but
easy.
That one, yeah.
I guess that begs the question then, as many categories as there are, which one do you think would be the best for beginners?
Yeah, either GSR like I mentioned, or Defeat Ganon OSRM. That's the one I started with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a complicated name, but
I would say that the Kakariko route specifically for Defeat Ganon no SRM is really good. I would say because the cost of entry is quite low. You don't need to buy lots of equipment. You don't need to invest a lot of money into like consoles and controllers. You can start with the absolute basics. You can learn the route very fast and then get a run completed. And I think having that first experience of completing a run is very important when you first start speedrunning, because one thing that really holds people back from getting into speedrunning is the amount of time required to get started. So ideally you want to recommend a category like Ganondorf Source Requirement. It's a great run, you know, there's a lot of foundational tricks, and I agree with that. But my suggestion would be to start with a short category that you can complete fast and get a first sense of completion, build a bit of confidence, and then you can go ahead and invest more into the stuff that you need and then run longer categories.
Glitches is cool if you have 4 hours, yeah. It is a cool category, but length is a big deal for a lot of people starting out, like Rich mentioned.
Alright, that's all the questions I've got. I'm sure I could come up with more if I was more refreshed, but it's pretty late here. I'm going to open the floor to chat questions in the meantime, because we have like a lot of time to kill. Do you guys have anything else cool you might be able to show off in the game?
Yeah, I can show off a few things in a practice ROM. Shoutouts to Glenk, by the way. Glenk developed this practice tool, and it revolutionized the way we practice and improve at this game. It is a insane tool for improvement. You can create save states to practice this section over and over again, just at the push of a button. Glenk is just insane for everything he's done for this community. So I can show off a few things.
Absolutely, take it away.
So yeah, this is a practice ROM. You'll see some numbers on my screen. Don't pay attention to those. Those are for some other stuff. So I guess the first thing I can show off is what SRM is. I have a save state for Zora's River SRM in my hand somewhere. So this is just how broken Ocarina of Time can get. Why am I so cute? Good question. So we're gonna bonk on this tree to get the skull tool out, and then kill it, And hopefully this doesn't take me too long. I'm not gonna go for a specific setup here, but just in general. And then we're gonna get a specific angle by some ESS turns and going up to fix the camera, and then pull some bomb chews. That messed up, so I'm gonna redo that. Missed the backflip somehow. I haven't done this in forever. This is kind of old. I mean, it's not even that old, but it's an irrelevant trick now. So actually, probably okay. I picked it up anyways. I didn't wait for the leaves to despawn.
You'll see,
like
you'll see a bunch of numbers on the screen too. So this is called watch data.
Yeah.
And basically, it lets Lake see exactly what's happening from a numerical point of view on certain angles, certain heights, certain distances. And it lets him do the setup exactly the way he wants while practicing. Obviously, in a real run, you won't see these things. But during the practices, you generally want to see what you're doing.
Alright. I can actually make the save state here, so I don't follow that over again. We click that skull tool and let the bomb tube blow up, and then when the camera pans to this rock, you can cancel it, do a quick spin, and this butterfly over here is now falling to the ground. Now we can use this butterfly for some interesting things. I forget some of the setups that we used to have, but I can do like the start of one. I just don't remember the whole thing.
Yeah,
so we used to use this in 100%.
I remember Float set up a chain.
So we can
one of the very first ones.
Yeah, for no wrong warp. So we place the butterfly in a specific spot and get us in a specific spot and a specific angle. We pull this bomb chew, and I want to drop it on a certain frame. And now, for Hundo, I think it was this frame. It doesn't really matter for the purpose of the glitch showcase, but yeah, it was one frame early for the Hundo one. But now we're just gonna get items over and over again. While this bomb chew is still active, we just keep getting items. We can just like move during it to determine which item we get. And when this was a relevant glitch, there were people spent hours and hours trying to find a good chain to get what we want for like each category. Also, this chain is weirdly working out because I just got bombs and then the big bomb bag, which is kind of funny.
It's making up chains along the way.
Yeah, so you can see here that it's just kind of, it's so wacky. This game just has so much stuff. Yeah, imagine this not being a relevant glitch. I wish I could show you the relevant glitches. I mean, I guess I could maybe show one. I think I might have a save state if I remember how to do any of this.
Title file SRM. Do you still remember how to do it?
I don't have a save state for title file. I don't think I have the save state for the Lost Woods stuff anymore. Alright. Somebody put something in chat. Oh yeah, Shuli wants to show off Bongo fights here. This isn't a glitch. This isn't a glitch, but this is something one Shuli really likes, and two is very, very fun. So we're just gonna using this this tool. We're gonna change to adult and warp to Bongo. Where is he? There he is. And I'm gonna give myself a few items before we get in here. Myself some arrows, but I can just use the.
While you set up for that, we do have a few more donations that came in. We have one from Nuffies for $20 that says, "But how OP is Lake OOT?" Got another $50 donation from Anonymous, no comment. That is quite the donation. Thank you so much, whoever that was. And $10 from Faye that says, 1,000 words aren't enough to express how much I love Silent Hero. There's also a good time for me to plug that we do have an upcoming donation incentive. 1,000 words cutscene in Final Fantasy X-2. We're, I believe, $35 away from that. So get your last minute donations in for that. Take it away.
Alright, so for Bongo Fight, there's a neat interaction that most casual players will never experience. Because it requires you to get ice arrows and then do Shadow Temple, which is you can do casually, but it's not the intended way or the way the game guides you. So you'll probably never experience this as a casual player, but Bongo has a pretty funny reaction to being shot with ice arrows. His hand freezes and he just starts punching it. It's actually so funny. This is one of my channel rewards in my Twitch channel.
I remember watching you do that.
Just doing this for 5 minutes. Yeah. After an MST PB, I actually did this for 10 minutes. I won't do this forever, but that's a funny interaction. Anything else I could show off? Maybe I could show off Waterfall West if I can hit it.
You can definitely hit it.
So in the defeat Ganon no SRM route that we were talking about, there's this trick that saves what, 4 seconds?
Yeah,
5
4
seconds? 4 seconds, and it's pretty hard. You gotta get a West off that. I think I actually didn't get a lot of speed, but so this might not work. But that gap right there, I haven't practiced this in forever. But that gap is a frame perfect retarget to be able to cross it. We get into this corner, and then I drop my Hess or my West. Dude, I haven't done this in so long. It's been forever since I ran this route. A late jump slash. Oh yeah, this jump slash is also frame perfect. This trick's ridiculous. Should be good to note that Richard Sage is the world record holder of the category that uses this trick to defeat no SRM. He nailed this trick in his world record. Did not have nearly as much practice as Rich. That was close.
Oh, you can still do instant clip, right?
I actually did it earlier today. So the idea for this was you get all the way there and then you go all the way to Deku Tree. You can imagine it. I have not practiced that trick in a while. This, however, I might be able to hit. So this is the thing that we skipped in the MST run. So this whole collapse sequence is normally what I have to go through. In Defeat Ganon no SRM, you wrong warp to the same part that we actually wrong warp to from Deku Tree to that section, but we don't have like explosives or anything to skip this collapse sequence with. So instead, we go up here and watch this cutscene, and then hopefully we can hit this in some reasonable manner. Trick's a little difficult. It's just slightly difficult. We're gonna try to Hess off a rock here. Normally in the MST run, you saw me Hessing off bombs, but we're actually gonna try to Hess off a rock there and target and retarget Zelda in such a way that our angle gets set up perfectly and actually hit this. Holy shit. So that we actually void warp. And and what that does is we hit the loading zone on the same frame that we voided. So it loads the next room that we hit the loading zone for, and can't believe I hit this. And also voids us, which puts us at the voiding coordinates at the same time.
Any god gamers in the chat right now? Because we have one.
That's
right
ridiculous.
This guy doesn't do this trick anymore.
Dude, I could show off this. This is a new development in that category. This is called Quick Put Away, and if we try to put away this Deku Stick, that actually wasn't the right frame. What the fuck? On like the same frame that this Baba is gonna hit us, and get some interesting properties on our crouch stabs. We break that stick, and now if we crouch stab this web, it burns. And it's actually something interesting that I learned yesterday or a couple days ago while practicing bingo stuff. Let me warp to, where is this? Ganon's castle here. So this is pretty interesting that I figured this out. This is another property of Quick Put Away. So if I go to Spirit Trial here, I can get Quick Put Away off this BMOS. I think this should be the right frame. And then we gotta break our stick in midair, activate the glitch. Alright, so we got it. So apparently, it also freezes these guys.
Yeah, the Quick Put Away.
I'm not sure why, but
properties, not just thin fire.
yeah, there's a bunch of properties that it
like
stores, so we can freeze these guys.
We never knew about until very recently.
This was found very recently. Yeah, it was this year, I think. Can you freeze this guy? No. I guess I could show the actual thing I was practicing for bingo on here. Let me try to get a few things, because this is pretty funny as well.
Did you want to explain what a bingo is for Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, so bingo for Ocarina of Time is a very cool concept. It's basically you have a bunch of goals. For instance, beat Deku Tree, or get the slingshot, or beat Bongo, or get Quiver 50, things like that. There's a bunch of goals like that, and what bingo is it gives you randomly generated but like balanced rows of these goals to complete. Is that Child Link exclusive? No, Adult Link can do this too. But you have to equip Deku Stick as adult. But yeah, you get a bunch of goals in a 5x5 board, and you pick one of these rows to do, and you just gotta complete it fast. It's really fun. You expand your knowledge of this game a lot while you do it. Do I need any seeds in this? Oh, yeah. Do need nuts though.
Oh, Lake, I had a question for you. What category did you want to run
what's
next
up?
after you're happy with MST?
Probably all dungeons, no SRMs.
Yeah, the no SRM categories.
I have some states for if we end up needing more time
Yep,
to kill.
so there's something interesting we should mention. SRM is basically the biggest game-breaking glitch that was found very recently in the last year. And eventually, the Ocarina of Time community decided to split categories based on SRM and no SRM. So SRM stands for Stale Reference Manipulation. It's probably one of the most complex glitches I've ever seen. I can't really explain it myself. But yeah, so when you hear Lake or other runners mention SRM or no SRM, basically we have multiple options for routes, and it makes the speedrun fun. Because if it was just all SRM routes, we may not necessarily want to run some categories. So categories like MST ban SRM, but you also have categories like all dungeons that have alternative routes, a route with SRM and a route without SRM.
Is this how you do this? I haven't done this in a while. No, that's not.
Oh, you're doing the hover on top.
I don't have nuts. Yeah, I gotta get the silver rupees out of this room. I think it's actually supposed to be one more up. Alright, so we gotta actually up that guy. We can actually just hover on top of him if we can. Alright. I'm not gonna bother with this because this isn't what I'm trying to show off. I'm just gonna levitate there. That's another feature of DZ.
You can do illegal F-boots.
Yeah, this is not what I'm trying to show off, so it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna give myself infinite nuts. I don't want to do everything required to make my nut capacity not drop to 0 every time I use one. Alright, so we just have to gain access to those torches there for the glitch. And an old MST route actually used to come do Spirit Trial as Child, or at least part of it. We got these bomb chews, and there's 20 of them, as opposed to the 10 you get in Bottom of the Well, which is really nice.
Oh, you know what you could show after? The torch slug weird shot.
Yeah, I will. Definitely. That's a good one to show off. Alright, so I'm just gonna re-get quick put away from this guy. I'm not sure if I broke it or not. So, once again, get quick put away here by putting away a stick on the same frame. This guy tries to hurt me. Do 2 more frames. Okay, so put away a stick here, and interrupts it, and we break it in midair. And then this is actually going to take use of an action swap, which is what I used to shoot a fire arrow without having fire arrows. But it's going to do something a little different. We're going to come to these BMOs like I did in MST. And same kind of thing, but with a slightly different setup. Same time, this guy hits me. I have Slingshot out and a Deku Stick. So we're going to use Deku Stick here. And now, we're going to go light our stick and find something fun. So this is a strat that people use in Bingo to complete Forest Trial as Child. I need nuts. Don't burn my shield, please. Alright. So now when we light our stick, it's gonna look a little weird. So it's no longer positive length, it is now infinite negative length. And now we have quick put away properties on this crouch tab of infinite length. So what we can do with this is go up to Forest Trial, and this is how Child can complete Forest Trial without a fire source. This is how they make a fire source. Instead of a fire arrow, we have a quick put away infinite negative length Deku Stick that doesn't break.
It's pretty amazing.
So that torch just lit, that torch up there just lit. It's a funny glitch. So this is just how broken this game is.
Yeah, look at that.
And we just got it. Alright, I'll show off the torch slug weird shot now. So this is what we used to do in MST before we were like, why don't we just do bow extension?
Yeah, just shoot an arrow through the gate.
Where is it?
Instead of doing the most complicated weird shot of all time.
Yeah. So, probably should have showed what an actual weird shot is first, but okay, I'll show what an actual weird shot is first since I messed this up. I rolled it a bit too soon. So a weird shot is I'm not really sure exactly how this works, but if we roll into a bomb with hook shot and do a few inputs, and I did the wrong inputs. If I can get this. Do the baby method. Plunking into this wall gives a bit more frames. Okay, so now we're under the map. And we can just like hookshot things or shoot things with arrows. So what MST used to do for a while before we grew brain cells is weird shot off this torch slug. Oh, I failed it. Probably should have just dog both that, but I used to do.
And you can see why we don't want to do this.
You'd be like, yeah, you can see why this is dumb. Yeah. You have to be good with your side ops here, and then you have to buffer the right frames, and that was me being bad with side ops.
And it's also only faster if you do it perfectly. Like if you do it really bad,
yeah, it's
slow up.
You have to one pause this for it to be faster. I'll go for this part. Really? I haven't done this in forever, dude.
Yeah, he wants to do this right anymore. Does Cruxus still do it? I don't know if he does.
No, I don't think so. I want to show this off. Oh my god, I cannot slide off. Dude. It's ridiculous. I can't slide off.
So we're just
much
doing a real
space.
demonstration of why we don't want to do this trick ever again.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember learning it and I'm like, why am I even doing this? I'm just gonna get Chew and just drop a Chew and blow it up. and then Flo just tells me about it. I'm like, really? And I tried it like first try and I got it. I'm like, come on, how did I not think of this?
Alright, there we go. So this is what we used to do. And then we hook shot to this torch, and then carry on with the arrow through there. That's the old method. That's why we don't do it anymore. How much more time do we need to kill? I can kill more time, but I don't want to kill too much time.
Good. There's one more question I thought of while we were looking at that. Like, you see all these weird things in Ocarina of Time and other old games, but like, it doesn't really get talked a lot about what goes into actually discovering this sort of thing, because I've never understood how people do that.
In general, a lot of speed games get their glitches on accident. Somebody, like some casual player, does something and some weird shit happens, and then people that actually want to figure out what happens are like, how can we make this consistent and doable in an actual run by a human? So that's how a lot of it happens, and others are, we know certain things about the game and we try to figure out how to manipulate those things into what we want it to be.
And then like it's a big community effort, like a number of glitch hunters work together to work around a theory.
I don't find any of these things.
Yeah, Lake and I
it's a work of
we are the guys who
group of people.
benefit from the discoveries. But
we just run it. We just
and
push
you'll see
buttons.
like there's like a group of people who work together, and sometimes we have theories that we make like months ahead in advance, like, oh, what if we could do this? And it's like, that's not possible. And then 6 months later somebody discovers it. And usually the way it works is we do something called a TAS, so a tool assisted speedrun, or a very specific perfectly created version of the trick first. And then it goes to what's called RTA, which stands for real-time attack. So in other words, from a perfectly robot version of the trick to something that a human can do. And usually it goes in that form. We find a task version first, and then we find a human version first, and then it usually gets implemented into speedruns. And that's typically how it's been going for Ocarina of Time for the last, like, 10 years.
A good example of that would be when Ace was first found. They found this really garbage setup that had to be done on the IQ with an extension of the IQ that let you plug in another controller, and it was TAS only. It was just terrible. If you don't know what the IQ is, it's like a Chinese N64 console that's like really expensive. So that was, but one, not realistic to get your hands on an IQ for the average player, but also TAS only as far as what you could actually perform. And then it slowly improved. We got a setup that used a couple items and it was fast. It was like 12 minutes or something. And then we found a new setup that lets you skip one of the items. We found a new setup that lets you skip the other item, and now it's just 2 items. Just Deku, I guess 3. Deku Stick, not Stick. Deku Nuts, Sword, and Shield. It's just all. That's all we need.
And Ocarina of Time got lowered
as
by.
fast as possible.
It took years to lower the category by like 1 minute, from like 18 minutes to 17 minutes. Like years, like 5 to 6 years of hard work. And then the discovery of SDRM and Ace brought it down to now it's nearly almost sub 7 minutes for Ocarina of Time, for the 80% category.
Yeah, it's nearing there. We found a new setup on the GameCube version of this game that saves 20 seconds off the old one, so if we find one more thing that makes it go a little bit faster, then it might be enough to push world record under 7 minutes, which would be pretty insane. I think that would officially, like, I mean, maybe not quite, but like the intro cutscene is getting very close to the majority of the run.
Yeah, no, it's been super insane to see like how low they've been able to push this game. But with that, I think we're about ready to go into Final Fantasy X too. So thank you guys again so much for the run and commentary. I think everyone here enjoyed it a lot, and we raised a lot of money for charity.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take it back to.
It's a pleasure to do that.
Back to intermission, and yeah, we'll see y'all in a bit. Thanks so much, guys.
Bye. Thank you for watching.